This is the bonus podcast extra bit where
lay it down, yeah.
last week.
What's it with alcohol and flask as well? And
does that look alright? Can you see
that?
Yeah. Pint pots. Is it trying to tell us something?
I'm ready to go.
Is our reputation pretty?
Yeah, we are. We're ready to go. Our table is laced with booze.
I mean, I've
What we celebrate?
Some would say we should be drinking it.
It's my birthday in 2 weeks' time, so birthday cake in 2 weeks' time.
All right, are you bringing them in, are you?
I'll bring them in.
We're going for a curry, I assume. I'm looking forward to it already, Phil. We better go on a diet.
Hopefully I might be
Are we live?
I might be keeping money by then.
nearly. Well, we are. Yeah. Well, you paid to me.
We're live on the YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're live on the old podcast. You'll be listening to that later on. Welcome along. What a week it has been for Super League. Unbelievable wins last weekend. Hull Kingston Rovers putting the pressure on London. London win to put the pressure on Leeds. Wakefield getting dragged in at the bottom. Is Chris Chester right? Or Wakefield in a relegation scrap? We've got some polls on Twitter at Forty20 Live asking who you think is going to get relegated. And I want to know, there's a load of moaning going. Everyone moans, don't they, in
It's
Rugby
me.
League?
It's in the DNA of the people that follow the sport.
It is. So I want to know on Twitter at Forty20 Live, are you a glass half full or glass half empty? The old Forty20 magazine is out now.
The positivity.
There you go.
Issue.
The positivity edition.
Everything that's good in rugby league.
Yeah.
What's
Exactly. I noticed
Hang
there's
on,
no
hang
leads
on.
on the front.
It's all blank. It's like a colouring in book. It's got words in
It's like my autobiography, full of pictures.
Yeah. So Gary, are you glass half full or glass half empty?
Regarding what?
Just in life in general.
All
Are you
of
glass half full or glass half empty?
No, my glass is always full. Always full. I'm always positive.
Well, it's genuinely when someone else is paying. It's definitely always
That's
full.
a bit harsh. Yeah, but it soon goes empty. Saying I'm ready for another one, but no, my glass is full. And I tell you what, we'll be for sure. The reason why it's full after this weekend's results, I tell you what. Forget about the top five. You know, we can't even mix with the top five on there. But by the way, I think Hull are certainly going to make the top five to beating Cas. But boy, oh boy, are we in for a relegation scrap? And we're talking about it now. And there's still 12 games to go because of the inconsistency of these sides, and then also as well the brilliant play of the London Broncos. Because I tell you what, I said it last week, and I'm going to repeat myself again here. If Danny Ward doesn't get the Coach of the Year, I tell you what, it's bent. It's absolutely bent if he doesn't get the Coach of the Year for what he does. Because there's not just us four here, but every pundit in Rugby League, and I would imagine every coach in Rugby League, and I would imagine majority, 95% of the supporters are saying London are not going to win a game. But boy, oh boy, when you watch that performance on Saturday,
That was a very different performance.
but I won't be second, Phil, but we've said it before, is that Danny Ward gets a tune out of his players, but the players just love playing for him, and I'm not so sure they played any different, Phil. It was quite simple. The forwards ripped into them Catalan poses. Them Catalan players who are playing like...
Hold on, Gary. It's a 2-hour show. You don't have to go all in the first minute.
I'm only going about 100. I hadn't started with Vulky, how good they are.
He's had 2 cups of tea and he's gone.
And I'm not starting with Leeds, how crap they are, to be honest with you. But the fact of the matter is here, London, the way they are playing for the coach, the way they're expressing themselves, they're playing with that smile on their face. I'll tell you, fellas, if Danny Ward, again, I repeat myself, doesn't get the Coach of the Year, it's bent.
So here's the first question of the night.
Go on then.
Is that official?
I thought I'd asked a few.
Well, it's all glass half full or half empty.
I always look on the bright side of life.
Correct.
Who chooses the Coach of the Year? Do we know?
The coaches themselves.
There'll be some new panel
It's
this
the
year.
coaches
won't there?
themselves.
Phil Larder's choosing it this year. How many points are going to be needed to avoid relegation?
Well, none, because we're going to expand to 14 teams.
Well,
We're going to shout out all the teams in the Championship.
so we're going early on the conspiracy theory.
Well, if I were
But
Robert
assuming there is one team going to be relegated,
What are you saying?
even if it's for a week and then they decide to change the structure in the first week of the post-season, how many points are going to be needed? Because I think it's going to be the highest ever, but it could be as many as 20. And if it's 20, then Castleford aren't safe yet. Now, it might only be 1 away, but I just think that more of the teams that are involved in the sport than ever are in danger of getting relegated.
Right, well...
And it could be 8 of the 12 as we sit at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you what, Leeds aren't going to get to 20 points. There's not 4 wins in Leeds, Phil.
Well,
With what I am seeing, and
I'm asking how many points do you think?
I tell you what, and I'm trying to stick up for Leeds. I'm trying to stick up for Leeds week in and week out. And I tell you what I saw, because Wigan are a poor side, and that was an absolutely abysmal game for skill-wise with two quality clubs, and the skill level and the game what they turned out on Friday night was dross as far as I'm concerned.
Oh.
But Leeds, where are they going to get 4 wins from? Where are they going to get 4 wins from?
The only question I'm asking at the moment is how many points do you think we'll need? Because Chris Chester came out quite unequivocally and said we are in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
But his team at the moment are 4 points off the bottom. So, and 4 points off getting this 20, which I'm saying.
Phil, me and Mark were there yesterday.
But I'm just.
Let him say. Let him speak.
The other thing that's really interesting is that all of these teams at the bottom have still got each other to play.
I've made a schoolboy error because I've wrote out all the fixtures. I've left them in the car. I might go get them when Brian comes with the tea. But go on. So they've all got each other to play.
Yeah, so they've all got points to drop. They can't all go on a run and get up to 20. There's gonna be somebody that stumbles, and at the moment I don't know who it is.
Go on, Gary. You can speak now.
You was say good about Wakefield from there. But so are you trying to say Chris Chester was saying and being open and honest about the performance, the saying abysmal? That's wrong. He's only being open.
No, he's saying they're in a relegation battle.
Oh, they are in a relegation.
And at the moment they are 4 points above.
They are in a
the
relegation battle. Exactly.
So if he's saying it and they're as far away from the playoffs as they are from the bottom of the table, it's a really, really interesting season for panning out how the bottom's going to work.
It's great. It's great for the bottom. It is. The bottom's excited me more than what the top is.
I thought we'd been told that Super League's uncompetitive. That's the narrative we're being told by people, because people involved in rugby league, to use a phrase from Scully, boy oh boy.
I mean, we've always said, haven't we, that the NRL is the benchmark because not only can any team beat any other, but the gap between the sides most weeks on the ladder is relatively narrow. And we're now seeing a top division where the gap between the team that's 12th and the team that is in 6th, has one off the playoff, is 4 points. And you look at the championship with the greatest respect. The gap goes.
The very competitive championship.
It's the same two divisions we had last year. The top is competitive. The bottom is competitive.
No, you're lying, Phil.
But between the two, it isn't competitive.
Because I've heard that the championship's really competitive. Probably because the chairman's told somebody to say it, which is probably the problem with it.
Well, you saw a championship game this weekend close up between a team at the bottom and a team.
Yeah, you were there.
Wasn't that competitive?
You must be knackered.
No.
So the gap between the two halves of the division is still as wide as it's ever been.
Yeah, no, I get that. Look, I mean, someone made a point earlier about we've got an uncertainty of outcome now, which we've clamoured for years, and now we've got it. We're mourning that we've got it. St Helens are clearly better at this point in time than anybody else in the division.
Yes.
And I think now you can start to chuck Warrington into the unpredictable category. Because they're starting to lose a few games now that they shouldn't be losing, or you would think they shouldn't be losing.
Yeah.
Do we want uncertainty of outcome and maybe the game a little bit scrappier? We're not going to get a great game. Now, is this the first step now to getting a better standard, if you know what I mean? Because now, Gary and I watched Jackson Hastings and Robert Louis yesterday, were brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and Salford won. On the back of that performance, they won. Now, people can poke holes in other bits of their performance, Ian Watson himself did after, so that there are parts of that performance that need to be better. But what we saw was big game players winning a big game for Salford.
Yeah, I think you've hit on something that's absolutely key. We do, but also it needs to be sustainable. And my worry at the moment is, and you pick out those two who were key. You mentioned on the commentary that Josh Jones was exceedingly good. There's 3 players that are not going to be at Salford next year.
Yeah.
And my issue with London as well is that I loved watching. I think they did play slightly differently this week. It wasn't just built around spirit and determination, never say die. I thought they played just wonderful rugby. A couple of the tries that they scored
I agree.
was not the attack that we've seen so far this year. It wasn't them holding on to a game and finding a way to win it. They actually completely outplayed Castle.
But isn't a laughable thing though?
The guys who played really well for London, if we were to pick out their top 3 or 4 players, we already know they're not going to be there next year as well.
But wasn't this the problem that everyone in the Super 8s, there's too much uncertainty. If we're in the bottom 4, we can't buy any players for next year. Well, I'm looking at that table from Salford down. None of them can say to a player, I guarantee we're in Super League next year, because they might not be in Super League. And therefore, if you're a big money player, you are not going to sign for one of those clubs until
it gives a
you've got a
massive
cast iron
advantage to
guarantee.
St Helens, Warrington, Hull and Catalan.
But the Super 8s we got rid of to prevent this situation, and we said, look, if you have a competitive division, this is going to happen every year. This is how it should be.
We need to decide what we want from the sport, and we need the progression that Salford have made with the ability to sign players of the quality of Hastings and Lussick and Louis and whoever else that is playing well. They want to hold on to Evalds because there are a lot of people.
I'm amazed no one's taking him.
I think
I am amazed.
Who's that?
Evalds.
And Bibby now is showing his worth, but he's already going to Wigan.
Cass going for him.
But the fact is that their top players will be picked off, and if we want to have a sustainable competition at this level every year, which we do, then you've got to find some way of keeping these players at these clubs.
Well, therefore, hold on just 1 second then. Therefore, how do we do it? Do we ring fence it and say, right, it's 14 and we're not having relegation? I don't know.
The problem
That will be on the table. There's no way doubt, because the way that London's gone this season, that will be being discussed, I can reassure you. But also, I want to sling one into the mix here, fellas, and certainly for you, Phil, because you put a question out there, 20 points could be safe. Well, let me just go through each side here, which is very, very important from a point of view, because halfback's going to have a massive say. So let me just go through this then. St Helens halfbacks, quality. Warrington's halfbacks, quality. Hull FC's halfbacks, quality. Catalans, ordinary. Castleford, ordinary. Salford, quality. Wigan, ordinary. Wakefield, ordinary. Huddersfield Giants, ordinary because there's only Gaskell. Leeds, very, very ordinary. Hull Kingston Rovers, ordinary. London Broncos, quality with Morgan Smith and Jordan Abdul from there. So we mentioned the 20 points from there. Because the forwards, most of the sides,
it might not be 20.
but most of the sides, the forwards will get them in the right field position. Who is going to be the creative players to get them to where they want to get, and that could be the target of 20 points.
The interesting thing of what you're saying about that is that a Salford a better bet for going into the 5 if they can stay injury free than a couple of teams you've identified above them where you've got question marks over their halfbacks.
Well, I'll tell you what, Salford,
because it's a big game this week now, Castleford and Salford.
Well, there's something on every game at the minute, and this is what we want, and yet people are still complaining about it. But uncertainty of outcome is what we want. Now,
absolutely.
The problem is, right, and let's be brutally honest about this. When London got promoted last year, I think clubs like Hull KR, maybe like Salford, thought, great, we'll be all right for another year. We've got another year, whatever happens. If we have a shocking year, we've got another year, because they're not going to do anything. You know, you don't have to run faster than everyone else. You've just got to run faster than them. And you know, let's be fair. I understand that conversation was had at a couple of clubs. Now they've come up, we don't need to spend as much money. They've held money back, and now it might be batting them on the backside. So what do we want now? Because if you put Toronto into that 12 or add them into the 13th, they would compete. They're only going to add to that problem. You could argue Toulouse, all right, they lost to Swinton. These things happen. They've lost 5 games all year. Would they, if with the Super League money, would they be able to kick on and improve it? Would Featherstone are having a great season?
We touched on it. I mean, I think the solution is teams that can go full-timer in one division, teams that are part-timer in another, and that takes away the need for automatic promotion relegation, because part of it is done by, if you can get an investor in or you lose an investor, that determines where you play. That's a different argument, but I think that's the model that we're already starting to get. But if you were to say for next season, and this is a sport that changes its mind at the drop of a hat, so it's not so much about next season, it's about what the sport looks like when the next television deal comes on stream, which is in 2 years. You know, what do we want to show to the world? How can we maximise money outside of our current broadcasters, because they may not give us the amount that we've got at the moment? So can we find others in other markets that might fill in? If you were to say that the team that finishes top of the championship gets automatic promotion, then there's a playoff between the remainder of, you know, at the moment it would be 4. Extend that to 5 or 6. That's where effectively the break is in the championship. Then you're not ruling out York or Lee or Featherstone or maybe even Bradford coming up, Sheffield, but they're going to have to win it through a playoff system whereby Toulouse would have the top seeding as we sit at the moment.
But what would you do once you got to 14 though? Would you then have promotion and relegation still or not?
No, I think you couldn't immediately, because it's down to partly the amount of quality players there are. Why have we got uncertainty of outcome? Because there's an evening up of the standard of player, but we haven't got that depth of player. But
this is an argument before though, isn't it? Oh, we haven't got enough players for 14 teams. Well, there's probably out of that Broncos team. What was it about? There were about a dozen of them that were in the Championship last year. They didn't look out of the depth that Catalan and
Toronto have changed that because they're signing players that are Super League players but playing in the Championship.
London have got a Championship squad with a sprinkling of...
I think they've now proved that they deserve to be upgraded to a Super League quality squad. They've won 6 games.
We don't know. We can't say that about all the other team. You don't know, do you? I think they're just changing everything at the minute, London.
I think they are, but the shame for me goes back to what we said earlier, that the guys who have proved themselves, that were in the Championship last year and have kicked on this year, are now going to be picked off by other Super League teams.
But that's because of the threat of relegation.
Which is a shame. So even if London's survive this year and they lose the core of the guys that have been so good, they've got to start again. They end up then being everybody saying they won't win a game because how do they fill in those gaps?
They lost some good players last year and still not.
Luke Yates is a classic example. He was the one real overseas signing that they brought in. Nobody had heard of him.
Yeah.
And now he's already been picked off by another Super League team for next year.
Yeah. As we understand it, yeah. He's a good player as well, by the way.
Well, he is the workhorse.
Why did Leeds sign him?
I don't know. I don't even think he came across their radar. It was a great bit of business by London.
Why don't Leeds sign that Eddie Batter? Why don't Leeds sign Jordan Abdul? Why don't Leeds sign for the next 13 games? And I said it 2 weeks ago after the Halifax. Battle. Why don't Leeds sign Scott Morrell?
The interesting thing, and obviously none of our listeners will want to talk about Leeds, but we are entitled to at least mention them briefly.
They are winning our Twitter poll. We're talking about them in a minute.
Callum Watkins going early in the next fortnight releases some money for this season that I don't think they'd anticipated having. It would be very interesting to see if they go and sign, who they go and sign.
Well,
surely
it could be a halfback.
It's got to be. Surely got to be an halfback.
You think so?
Because what we saw on Friday night was absolute dross from Liam Sutcliffe and Richie Myler. Absolute dross.
Well, it didn't help that Sutcliffe went off early with a poke in the eye.
When did he go off?
Start the second half.
What was it? What was he like for the first 50 minutes?
Well, they had more shape about them when he was on. They had no shape when he went on.
I'll tell you what, when you next time watch Leeds, take them.
They had more
because
shape.
You must be watching a different place than me, Phil.
They were definitely... I think they were a team that didn't have the ability to substitute Liam Sutcliffe with somebody who could play halfback.
Wait, because I want to talk about the game in a bit. Let's forget it. His question was, they're going to sign someone, right? My question is, who are they going to sign?
They have the ability to sign.
Yeah, but there's no one going to be selling any players from fourth downwards, are they? Surely.
We don't know if there's somebody in the NRL that might come.
Have they got a cap space?
They've got money now that cap space that Watkins.
I mean, as in a quarter space.
I'm not sure.
I don't think they have.
We're not being facetious.
Well, how do you know that it's going to be in Australia? It might be somebody who was qualified to. Blake Austin wouldn't count because he's eligible to play for Great Britain. Not saying they're going for him.
Sign him.
Well, they should. Did I not say ages ago that he should play for England?
We're not talking about the game.
No. But just going back to the play.
But there might be somebody out there who could sign.
But going back to the play point of view, Lola here was on there, so why don't they move him to stand off? Because it's quite obvious. Who
would they have played at fullback? They didn't have anybody on the bench that could cover for a halfback being injured. And they ended up playing with one halfback.
Put Aliski on this and then just stick a forward.
Why didn't Aliski play anyway? He didn't get on, did he?
Anyway.
McDermott's back in charge. You know Wigan will end up signing, don't you? Because the way things have got at Wigan, I've kind of telegraphed this, don't you? You know Leeds will end up signing, don't you? Tony Mattel, he'll probably be available soon.
He will.
Not to play in the halves, I don't think.
I don't know. I'd rather have a fiver on him. Right, anyway, let's get through some business.
What about Huddersfield, by the way? We haven't spoken about them. Are they in the mix?
I actually did some preparation for the show today and I've left it in the car.
So that serves you out.
Well, exactly. But Huddersfield have got to play all the teams at the bottom. All the teams. They have got, I think they are the key part in all of this.
They're the kingmakers.
If they fall off a cliff, they could be the ones that end up going down because it's all right. Like Wakefield have got to go to Saints, Warrington, and Wigan. You could say if they lose them 3 games, it ultimately might not make that much difference at the bottom. But if they lose to London, Hull KR, and Huddersfield, then they are big defeats. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. Look, we asked a question out of the Super League bottom 4 on Twitter at Forty20 Live. Who do you feel will be most likely to be relegated? We've had over 500 votes already. London 32%, Hull KR 23%, Leeds 36%. There might be a bit of bias in there. and Huddersfield 9%. So a lot of people don't even think Huddersfield are involved. It was a horrible weekend for them, by the way, and I know some big Huddersfield fans really worried about what's happened this week.
And they've got Wigan this week, so
they have. And we asked the question, who's going to win the big one on Thursday night? London against Hull Kingston Rovers. Again, hundreds of you voting. 72% think London are going to carry on their great form. Wow, unbelievable. And in the old glass half full, 67% of our listeners are glass half full merchants.
And still tuning.
And they're 33% still tuning.
That's
They're the one that mourn on Facebook.
Yeah. They're the ones who can't get onto Radio Leeds, so that's what's going on.
The other thing about this week that makes it interesting is that one of Hull, KR and London, and obviously whoever we predict it will be the other one, will have 14 points.
They could draw.
No, they can't.
They
The
can.
golden point.
They can.
Well, I suppose they
They
can.
can have 10 minutes time,
yeah.
Phil. They
Yeah,
can.
but let's assume that they don't, as it's
They might mutually agree to draw and put Leeds bottom.
It's an
This is not
extremely rare
Italian
occurrence.
football.
that
Second division Italian football.
I miss those days.
if Huddersfield don't beat Wigan at home, they will have the same number of points as either Hull, KR or London.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It's great. It's great. People said to me, "So we should be looking at the top." Well, St Helens at the minute are that good. The race for the top 5 is actually quite intriguing.
Yeah.
But
the interesting thing about St Helens is, will they do what the previous 3 teams who have led the division for most of the season will do? That when it comes to the end of the season, will they implode? I don't think they will, because I think the top 5 is a different playoff formula than we've had in the last couple of years anyway. But everybody else needs to catch up with Saints. We shouldn't be pulling them back into this mix.
No.
But what we have got is every game at this moment in time, and even looking at the way Saints lost in London a fortnight ago, every game, even including them, we can't predict with any degree of accuracy.
Well, we can't predict with any degree of accuracy
We
anything.
can't predict end
We
we're
are
not-
struggling.
I'm not making any excuses for us, but we're no different to anybody else.
No, we're not. And for all those people that have a go at us after the event, show me. I want people to show me who backed London to beat Catalan. So if you back them, right, and you can show me evidence of your slip, right, we'll buy you a pint.
But who backed them before they saw the 19-man squad?
Well, exactly.
Because
It's
if we'd
laughable.
have known that Warrington were maybe resting 3
Although
or 4
some of us
people-
did say Card win by 2 last week, so we'll leave it at that. But yeah, don't moan at our predictions. You can only moan if you send your predictions in
It's like-
before
I don't
the game.
I still don't understand why people get upset when people tip against their team anyway. Apart from the fact that people are, as we've discovered, idiots.
Richie, I need to ask you
Oh,
a question. You might have to do a bit of delving, because I asked Mark yesterday, because I'm getting some messages from the Hull fans, because Hull are going to make the 5 now. And did I say before the season started, and if it's true, we need to get to the people at Mushy Peas, Bachelor's Mushy Peas, because the Hull fans are reminding me.
We're not
that
having in at the Mushy Peas.
I said before the season started that if Hull make the 5, I will get into a bath of Mushy Peas. Did I say that before the season started?
I don't know.
Did I say
know.
Hull fans?
I can't remember.
Someone's reminding me that's what I said. So I need to know, because if it's true, I need to do it. You know, if you walk the walk, you got to talk. If you talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
Well, I'd like to thank my colleague at Talk Sport who chucked me under a
yeah.
bus in the Hull Daily Mail the weekend.
The Old Daily,
Yeah,
Old
in the
Daily,
Hull Daily Mail. Yeah.
Why, what have you done?
Yeah. And let's just say a private conversation was outed about my comments about Hull FC. So there you go.
I'll tell you what,
Well, I did say on this show I thought Hull FC had finished below Hull KR this year. So again,
We all
my
did.
marvellous predictions
We all did.
going well.
we would have some great off the record
Exactly.
comments we could say about a lot of people.
Exactly.
But,
There you go. So we won't do that,
That's
because
really
we're
bad.
better than that. Right, let's talk about what happened on the field then. We'll go in chronological order. We'll start at the Menderhose Jungle. On Thursday night, Castleford 18, Hull FC 31.
What was the score at half time there?
Castleford were leading
14-4.
14-4.
A game of 2 halves.
14-4. Well,
Yeah, so what do we make of it?
Well, we were
Legend.
there, we were there, Matt, what we, and just to summarise it all pretty quickly, to be honest with you. The first half, Castleford forwards literally battered the Hull forwards from there, and you mentioned it, Matt, that you would imagine that Lee Rathod would have ripped into the Hull side, and certainly the second half, he got a response from his players, didn't he? And the Castleford players, it's the big players who are just not turning up from there. Apart from Liam Watson and also too, Daniel Smith was pretty good. The 2 best players, they got brought off for about 25-30 minutes, and I still don't buy into that. Bringing the forwards off for a spell, leaving them off the field longer than what they are on it. But Hull's forwards literally battered Castleford in the second half, and then Jake Connor, as we know exactly what he is, the maverick of a player there. Albert Kelly showing the pace of him. Naludi, the winger, brilliant from there. But Mark Sneed, absolutely sensational. But I've got to say, if Bat Shane was on form or playing with plenty of confidence, he's normally the guy who just hunts up. He's like a little Jack Russell, like a little terrier went on the last tackle. But boy, oh boy.
That's about
Mark,
8 times you said boy or boy.
No,
Next time you say it, right,
right.
Phil's going to punch you.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But Mark Sneed, on two occasions, the kicks what he put over, he had time to get 2 slices of bread out of the loaf, put it in the toaster, eat the 2 slices of toast and a cup of tea twice. That just shows you, for me, the lack of confidence, the lack of urgency, and also too the lack of communication between the Castleford players. It's something we've not seen under Darryl Powell's management.
Everybody knows that injuries are a factor in the way a lot of teams are approaching this season at the moment, and Cass and arguably Wakefield are 2 that have suffered among the most.
Yeah, but the players are out there for it. Don't stop them being enthusiastic.
But what I'm saying now is Cass can't really use that as an excuse, because yes, they've got Michael Shenton missing, and Luke Gale they've known he's going to be gone for virtually all the season, as he was for a lot of last season. How do Cass turn it around?
I don't think they can. I don't think they can. I don't know, Phil.
So are they? If they lose to Salford this week, are they pulled into?
Well, Senny Lafort has said, and he's got the print, and he said it was the biggest roasting under Darryl Powell's management. What he's been part of. But when you look at that Castleford side, and certainly from the forward pack, when you look at it, Liam Watts, Max Shane, Daniel Smith, Senny Lafayette, Matt Meakin, and Massey. That's not a bad starting pack. Not a bad. And when you have a look at the bench,
exactly.
Millington, Milner, Moores, and Matt Cook.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think there's too much excuses.
That's what I'm saying. Now, is it more serious than it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, when acceptably the guys who were sitting on the sideline couldn't influence what was going on the pitch? Some of those guys now are back on the pitch. Where does Darryl go at the moment? Have they hit a junction, Castleford, do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I think they have. I think they're struggling. I think you know what? I think the belief's gone out of the fans and out of the team.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what as well. And again, he played for the Cattle and Dragons this week, and I don't know why. Because he's as slow as what I am, Matty Smith. But one thing for sure, that RPAC partnership is not working as well. And I mentioned it 2 weeks ago, and we had a bit of a debate about it ourselves. But Jake Truman is nowhere near the player what he is, and he's not been helped by Rankin, who's at the side of it. And Rankin, he's in the same barra as Richie Myler and Matty Smith, just too slow in the thought process.
Would you move Matautia to 6?
I've never seen him play 6.
Yeah, he did a little bit.
Is he a natural 6?
He's all right. Well, the one thing he
can he organise? Can he get a team around the park?
Well, does he need to do that? They don't both need to do that, do they?
Could Truman fit in better at scrum half doing that?
Right. Well, the problem what you've got when you've got the balance of halfbacks, right? Matautia is not supporting halfback. So what he will want to do, he will want to organise. He will want to take over the kicking game. So then you might as well not play with Truman.
But what if
he's not a support player?
What if he's more like Jake Connor, who is the maverick? Because I think the one thing we do need to talk about for Thursday night is just how good Jake Connor is.
Well, Phil, I'll buy into that. I'll give him that role in. I'll let Truman be the main organiser.
And we should be doing more as a sport to promote Jake Connor, because one of the things that Robert Elston, who's now been in post for a full year, promised he would do would be to make the players the centrepiece of the sport. They'd be the guys that would sell it for us. We need personalities. We have got nobody better at the moment than Jake Connor, because not only is his skill level so high, and 2 of those tries that he created on Thursday night were just genius, and they should have been out on social media within seconds of him doing them, and should have been on everybody's repeat button. But he's got something about him. He's got a characteristic where he is the snake, isn't he?
But he's like a...
And that's
like
how you promote people.
Because when you speak to him before a game, he's just a soft-spoken bloke.
But
as soon as he crosses the line, he's
that's
like...
what you want. If we can't market that as a sport, the snake...
But
everybody hates him, but you don't want him in your team. Sean Edwards, isn't it? Everybody booed Sean Edwards, but every single fan would have wanted him as the number 1 in their team.
I'm not sure Leeds fans would have.
They'd have taken him.
Would they?
Yeah.
Where would I play him?
Well, the 2 of you would have made a difference.
They'd have sold you at
Bramley, yeah.
Pay for him. You've got to pay for it, haven't you?
We need to... I know nothing about the world of the internet and stuff. Seemingly neither do Rugby League chairmen. But we need to get these. I understand they're called social media influencers.
That's what
the biggest lot of nonsense going, isn't it? But they have an audience out there.
It's what I said. I think I might have mentioned it to you on Friday that what happened with Jake Connor was that nobody was really talking about how good he'd been until Adrian Durham, who is a Hull fan, tweeted, "Have you seen how good this guy is?" Now we should be sending the clips of Jake Connor as they happen to half a dozen people who have massive followers on social media who can immediately get that message out, but we don't. But Jake Connor is our most marketable property at the moment,
and he's not
because and I accept there may be people coming on that say there are better players than him, but he's got the whole package. He's got that element about him that people dislike. It's Tyson Fury. Why? Is he the best boxer in the world? It doesn't matter.
Don't get me on Tyson Fury.
No, but if he breaks wind, it's a news story, isn't it? Because he's got that personality about him that people are talking about. They either love him or hate him.
Yeah, no, I think that includes the players that play with and against him, former
absolutely.
teammates,
but
etc.
Isn't that what we should be putting out?
Yeah, maybe it is. I just think, look, I've got to do a bit of reversing on Hull FC because they were struggling at the start of the year and they've found a way. They have these big blips. I think as they get closer to the top of the table, those shellackings they were getting will become fewer and further between. But I think this is a team that when they want to play, do play. And they came out in that second half, they wanted to play. They scored 27 points. They could have probably scored a few more. They won easily and they played really well. And Brad Fash thought was outstanding off the bench. He provided a bit of go forward. They've got X Factor like Nalago. I think he's outstanding on the wing.
Well, he's been one of the finds of the season.
Well, he's just given them a little bit of something more. And what they can do, Hull, and not a lot of teams, they can score from anywhere now. And they showed that they scored 2 tries from 90 yards.
Where would you play Connor? Because we saw what he could do and how dangerous he could be. But is he too far away from the action at centre?
Well, the fact is...
Or does it not matter? Do you want to keep him out there?
I mentioned it to Mark a couple of times when we was watching the game. It's simple. What you've got to do with Jake Connor, if he's playing out in the centre, give him the ball early, as though he's playing as a standoff. So what Albert Kelly needs to do, because the Maverick go is, and say, rather than taking on defences, give the early ball 2 or 3 times, and then the defence will be going, oh no, here we go again, it's Jake Connor again. And then Albert Kelly just comes into the game. So he's got to give him the early ball. Let him do what he wants, because he will always stand the defences up from there. So... yeah, we'd all like to see him closer, stand off, maybe loose forward, maybe too tight from there. But if he gets early ball in the centre, that's exactly what. And also as well, what they've got to do, give him the ball 10 yards from your own try line, because defences aren't expecting the ball to go out wide from there, and he will stand the opposite centre up quite easily. But and I'd say, but Hull for me, the way they play at this moment in time, I reckon they can match it with Saints and Warrington. And let's not forget, the Warrior wasn't playing on Thursday. Gareth Ellis wasn't playing. He's to come back yet.
Yeah.
What was the difference between the two sides on Thursday summed up by Eden dropping the ball and all of a sudden 4 Hull men are going up the other direction?
Yeah,
they're in a
fine margins.
There
fine
isn't a
margins.
player to be seen.
Fine margins, but
it's just
it was
the manner in
one-way
which
traffic.
they turn defence into
yeah,
attack.
it was. Look, these things happen, don't they? Good teams score. Should we not be talking more about the video referee? We were at the game, so we don't get to hear what is being said. It looked like the video referee made 3 chronic decisions on 3 big decisions in the game.
I think the other thing as well is the amount of time that it took.
Yeah. Even when Connor batted the ball back and Albert Kelly scored, even the Cass fans around us went, just give the bloody try. We're sick of what? Just give it. We just give it. We're not. Let's get on with the game.
But also as well, that try what Connor set up from there. We're in the entertainment business, and we're looking for reasons to cancel the try and disallow the try. His elbow's not from there. He wasn't tackled properly. Great piece of skill, passing the ball from there, the winger in. That's a try, But no, the video ref on Thursday was pathetic.
But on Friday, the speed of decision was significantly quicker, and I'm not sure it was that clear cut. It's just somebody must have had a word after Thursday and said we can't have this.
Yeah, it was poor.
Well, we
really
can't,
poor.
we can't. There was
No.
the time what it took and the indecision and that Eden try. It wasn't a try. We dropped it.
Well, I thought he did.
He dropped it. And that Jake Collins should have been a try, and the time what it took with Albert Kelly. No, not good enough.
Yeah. Oh, well. What's happening on social? We found a guy about London.
Oh, yeah, we have. Lewis. Well, I've asked him for his tips.
We owe him a pint.
We've also been spammed on YouTube, so we're now famous now, which is great.
Oh.
It means people are watching, so that's good. I think I've sorted it out, hopefully.
Right.
Does Jake Connor want to be the advert for Super League? Look at Ellie Hanley, he hated doing media stuff. Well, we're paying loads of money, Stephen, and he might do.
Well, should he not be getting this 25 grand and he's meant to do it?
Well, whatever did happen to that 25 grand that Mike McMeekin.
And what happens to it now?
John
Now
Wright.
that the RFL no longer have an interest in Super League, what is happening to that money?
It was never in any
What
accounts
a
that I
crap,
saw.
wasn't it?
So that makes sense, needs
The
to-
interesting thing with Jake Connor is I think he has an ego about him, and I think if you massage that ego in the right way, why wouldn't he want to be the signature person of the? I'm sure if you were asked, you would have been the poster boy of rugby league, wouldn't you?
He'd do anything you asked him to do, especially if it involved money and free beer. Right, Castleford Hull the winners there. Are they nailed on now, do we think? 6
Yeah.
points clear in the
I
5.
think so,
Are they
yeah.
nailed on?
The only strange thing about their stats is, as you pointed out, it's minus 71 over all their points difference, which is astonishing to think you can be third and.
Yeah, the three divisions.
I know, it's
But they've only
17-60.
won 2 less games than Warrington, who we're all marvelling about.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, two games less.
The Black and White, they'll turn Warrington over in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, I said that to you the other day. I think it'll be Hull Saints in the final.
They'll turn them over.
Right, okay. Right, where do we go now? I forgot who played on Friday. Right, we will go.
Leeds and Wigan?
No, I think we'll talk about the league leaders, St Helens, because by all accounts they were absolutely superb in the first half. Led 26 points to 2 against the Giants, and Makinson hat-trick, Lomax with a double, and Lachlan Coote and Theo Farge with a try. So pretty comprehensive display. Saints, brilliant. Is the problem at the minute no one's giving them a game?
Well, except London did the week before.
They did.
And I think that's the way that you judge a good team, by the way they hit back, and you couldn't be more comprehensive and not conceding a try. I've only seen highlights of the game, and the Makinson hat trick was magnificent.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Huddersfield offered. I was surprised when it came through, because I thought Huddersfield were an improving team, and one of the reasons we'd said they were improving was their attack. That the spine of the team was good and that they could score points, and even in defeat at Castleford, which is a game that perhaps they should have won. Gaskill stood out clearly as a guy who's at the top of his form at the moment, but they didn't score a point. They only kicked a penalty. They didn't score a try. So I don't know what that says more about Huddersfield than it does about St Helens. I think we know how good they are this year, and when they brought the 4 or 5 players back that they'd rested and had a point to prove, almost impossible to play against. But I think Simon Wolford was pretty scathing of his team.
Well, he is, and that's the problem I find with them. They've been playing okay and not winning. So when they play poor, they're not going to win either, and that's the problem they've got. And I think that's a big game for them. I think if they don't beat Wigan, and they are capable of beating Wigan, quite clearly they're capable of beating Wigan. But if they don't, I think they are firmly in the relegation dogfight, very much so. It's been a bad weekend for them.
I'm assuming Ian was there because he says 3 words: Huddersfield were awful. So.
Yeah, I only saw the highlights like Phil did from there, and nothing to say about Huddersfield because there was nothing to see, to be honest with you. But St Helens just looks sheer quality, and again they're just playing the ball away from the ruck area, and just letting the ball do the work. And I say Makinson scoring spectacular tries, but Lachlan Coote has been sensational. The team player from there, and Theo Farge, well, how good a halfback has he come down, the combination with him and John Lawrence, but the St Helens forwards,
and re-signed him, which is very important.
absolutely. But the St Helens forwards, Mark, as we said this about Salford, they just do the basics right. They go hard and straight and direct, plenty of purpose, and that just sets up nicely for the halfbacks and the speed what they've got in the back line. Nice early ball. Good night, God bless. Pleasure to watch. And I feel sorry for Leeds. On Friday.
No James Roby as well, proving now that they can play without him if they need to.
I think the team's that good. I don't think
But
great as he is. You'd rather have him playing than not. But they can now.
But last year, so much of it was still built around James Roby.
Yeah.
If this had been this time last year and he'd have been out of the team for a month, I don't think we'd be talking about how impressive they are. But they've proved now that the sum of the parts is greater than any individual.
And we expect them to beat Halifax. No disrespect to Halifax, we expect them to get to the cup final. St Helens, big thing. They've got to win a big game. That's what they've got to do. They've got to win a big game. And at the minute,
well, they've got Warrington in is it fortnight?
Well, they've played Warrington.
they
got Warrington twice in the running.
Yeah,
Twice.
Right, they've got on the 28th. But also as well, just looking at St Helens, I think the important factor here for this season for them is Benny Barber, after 23 games, fell off. I can't see that in Lachlan Coote, and let's not forget Walmsley's playing sensational. They missed him from what was it, last March, April time when he got that injury. Alex Walmsley, simply sensational. So they've got 2 players there who they didn't have last year.
I think the other thing is we look at some of the teams and say if X was injured, that they'd be in. If Jackson Hastings was injured at Salford, they would be in trouble.
Same with Warrington.
I think with St Helens, they are proving that you can take a couple of players out, and it's not going to affect them overall.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a sidebar on social media. David's asked, did the RFL get the Denver money? I keep asking. I don't know. But
No.
if you want a Denver
No.
t-shirt, then Steve Mascot's got them.
No, they didn't.
And speaking of,
No, if it was in the last month's 40-20.
should have read it, David. I did. I just forgot. Speaking of Steve Mascot, I can't afford to do a graphic. I've been busy today. But if you want to win a Toronto, I was going to say Maple Leafs, they're different. Toronto Wolfpack vest, how are we going to give them away?
We've got 3. One in red, one in
You can
white,
pretend,
and one
you
in
can
black.
pretend you're a Toronto Raptor because they won the basketball the other week. Was it just tweet the hashtag?
Yes.
You know the drill.
Yeah.
Subscribe, like. We need more people liking the Facebook page, so we can make some money off that. And just make sure you spam everyone with the hashtag You Know the Drill and at 4020 Live and tell them where to get the podcast.
Yeah.
And we'll pick 3 out at some point.
Well, anyone that uses a hashtag, you know the drill,
Yeah.
in the next week, we'll
Yeah.
pick it out on
And
Monday.
put red, white, or black if you've got a preference
Yes.
for a vest colour.
That's very good.
And
Yes.
if you're larger than small,
And go on a diet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Find somebody else to
Stick it on
do
eBay.
Nice try from Dale, who on the Hour League app where you get to
Yeah,
predict
we're
your
not
wins. He
having
went
that.
for London.
We're not
We're not having that. We're not having that. Does not count. If you put
Now,
your own money on
is,
it,
you know,
then I'll
hashtag
think about it.
Gamble responsibly, but you still, we're not, just picking one at random. That's what we do.
Yeah, guessing. That's what
Picking
you do.
numbers at random.
Right, okay, we've spoken about that. Right, Wigan. We all went for Leeds last week.
Well,
Wigan, the victors.
It's funny because at the start of
I shouldn't have clapped then. That would have been really loud on the podcast.
on Friday at Headingley, Emerald Headingley, me and Phil did our Facebook preview, which we said Leeds are going to win, Wigan are no good. And my theory was, of course, that if Wigan lost, A, Wigan are in crisis, and B, we can blame it all on the culture at the club. But now, everything's free today. Do what you want, lads, because you've won another game at Wigan. We don't need to talk about the culture off the field at Wigan because they won. They're dragging themselves up by their bootstraps away from the bottom end of the Super League table. And Tony Club scores a try, which obviously wasn't a try, but it doesn't matter because the game was over by that point. Unless
Leeds get relegated with a -5 points difference.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? Wouldn't that be terrible? But Wigan are back again now. So we don't need to talk about all the off-field issues.
Well, to be fair to Wigan, we did say, and we do need to speak about that, but we did say the next 6 weeks they had some games that they would have targeted, they would feel they could win, and that's exactly what's happened.
Well, George, how good do you think George Williams is? Because someone on the telly said he's as good as Blair Costin.
Oh,
That's what we've been asked on social media.
Who said that?
Someone on telly.
Who said it?
Someone on TV.
Who said it?
Someone on TV.
Who said it?
Someone
said it?
Would it be someone on
from
TV
Wigan.
who
Who
has
said it?
Wigan connections?
Yes. Someone on TV from
Who
Wigan.
said it?
Someone on TV from
Well,
Wigan.
I'll tell you what, they better
Used
get...
to play loose forward.
It's Clark in it. Well, I'll tell you what, Phil. Get your sent to Specsavers because he must be watching a different play to me. He's absolutely useless at the moment. Again, he's like most of the halfbacks. Instead of trying to play with that vision and awareness and playing with the ball in hand and playing a little bit wider, he's waiting for the kicking game. At this moment, he's absolutely useless. Phil,
When are they going to
get
announce that he's going to the NRL?
Well,
Anyway?
exactly. What they're waiting for? What they're waiting for? Everybody knows. The Wigan fans know.
To announce who his replacement is, presumably.
You know. Well, the replacement.
Yeah, for George Williams.
Well, they're going to need one.
But seriously,
Well,
did
haven't
the
they
best
got
team win or not on Friday?
Well, I just felt it was two poor sides, man. To be honest with you, I do.
I got told it was a good, exciting game.
No, well, again, whoever told you that, they better get to speculate. To be honest with you, because no, it wasn't an exciting game, and I thought the skill level was pretty poor, and I thought there were two poor sides. But Wigan, do you know what? If Leeds had one player on the Wigan side, I'm sure Phil will know exactly what I'm talking about. If Leeds had him in their side, they would have won. If they'd have had Sean O'Loughlin, Leeds win, because Leeds are just totally lacking the leader. A bit of organisation, hold on, Phil, and the communication from there. And if we'd have had O'Loughlin for 5 minutes in a Leeds jersey, we would have won. It's as simple as that.
I don't think there was anything between the teams, and that had Trent Merrin not dropped
Phil,
the ball
I'm not saying there is anything between the teams. There were two poor sides.
No, well,
but if we had O'Loughlin, if O'Loughlin had a Leeds shirt on for 5 minutes, we would have won.
Yeah, the one thing I couldn't understand was why Leeds only went with the option of one half-back when Sutcliffe went off. So that cost them in the end. But had they gone 18-17...
Well, when Sutcliffe went off, we didn't have any half-backs.
Well, in the paper this match got 2 stars out of 5 by Jonathan Doidge. So
All right, Doidge.
Doidge, yeah. So
You give it 2.
yeah.
Well, I'd give it 1 for him just.
He'd given it 1, but he had some
Yeah.
nice sandwiches, so I'll give it 2.
In fairness, he gave Richie Myler 4 and Brett Ferris 5. I think 5 is very generous.
Richie Myler 4, that is the worst rate. So he was the worst player on the
Apparently
field.
so.
Is that a fair comment?
We've
It
had it.
wasn't one of his better games.
We've
That
had
is
it.
for sure.
Phil,
Kicking out twice.
Phil,
on the
Do we
full.
all owe Gary an apology?
No, not.
Do
on
we
the
all
basis
owe
of
Gary
one.
an apology?
No.
Right, do you know
No,
what?
this
Right
is
then.
a serious question.
Right then, let's go
to
back.
the listeners.
Right then.
Do we owe Scully an
Right,
apology
let's go
about
back.
Richie
Well,
Myler?
do you know what? Yes, I do deserve an apology because let's go back to when they
Well, if
signed.
you think you deserve one, you're not.
Well,
having it.
let's go back to when it was announced, right? And I said, right, Richie Myler's a support player, and the only way he'll convince me, right, that he's been a good signing for Leeds, he ain't going to organise because he ain't got let in, is if he scores 20 tries a season. Right then, let me just tell you this: he hasn't created 20 tries since he's been here nearly 2 years now. He's been nowhere near 20 tries. How many tries has he scored? About 10. If that, I bet he hasn't scored that, and I bet he hasn't created that with ball in hand.
We
as
are
well.
talking about the Leeds Rhinos Player of the Year 2018.
Oh, do me a favour. Oh, you got it on stats.
Are they playing to his strengths? Because you mentioned that Truman.
What
now,
sense? What sense, Phil? What is it? What are his strengths then, Phil?
Well, you just told
Tell
me he was
me.
a good support player.
Well,
so he
is.
must have some
He is.
strengths.
Well, what's he supporting?
No, that's what I'm
What's he
saying.
supporting?
But have they
We
pla-
can-
have they
we can-
given him
Phil,
anything
don't get
to
me going.
support?
Don't get me going, Phil. I'll
Have
tell
they
you.
given him anything to support?
And what do you mean? Have they
The
given him
pack's
anything?
been going backwards for most of the time he's been there.
Right.
So how can they play
What-
to his
what-
strength?
what-
There's
hold on,
no
when-
excuse for kicking
Bri-
out twice on the full, so
Bri-
I'm not going to make an excuse for that.
Briscoe put him through in the first half.
Yeah, but if Jack Walker,
Is he about as quick as me?
but if Jack Walker, he did the right thing. He made 60 metres, drew the defence, but it was only Lola
He was,
who
supposed to be
inside.
there as a supporting umpire to score tries from 60 metres out.
But he did everything right in that instance. But the guy who was backing him up was slower than him.
Right.
If that had been Jack Walker, Leeds would have scored.
I should say at this point, I do think scoring players out of 10 is a complete load of old nonsense, but it does fill a little column in the paper, so you have to write less words.
Well,
I'm on the.
Well, the other thing is, unless you've got the stats from the game before you do those ratings. I mean, I thought Sam Powell had an important contribution to make, but I had no idea he'd made 50 tackles to the
Sam
stats
Powell
game
is
out.
becoming a very
And
important
he
player
was
for Wigan,
massive
isn't he?
for Wigan.
Very
50
important
tackles,
player.
that's how you win matches.
So isn't the main problem with Richie Myler not Richie Myler, but the fact that they signed him to do a job he can't do?
Correct.
So it might be if we decided to do other podcasts, and we decided to do a netball podcast, because we like jumping on bandwagons here at 4020 Live, and they got me to host a podcast about netball, a subject to which I know nothing about, I won't be very good at it. So you won't put me in that position. But is that my fault? No. So why did they sign him? To put him in the wrong position?
Well, if you're going to sign him, don't you need to build around what strengths you think he has? And I'm not sure they've done that. So Leeds at the moment can go out and buy a halfback. Do they go out and get somebody who will complement what Richie Myler does, or to replace him?
What do you do, Richie Myler?
Well, you just told me he's a good support player.
No, at the moment it's not. He's not doing
No,
nothing.
but
He's not doing nothing.
Do they get a half-back partner where all he has to do is worry about support?
I'll tell you what to do with Richie Myler, Phil. Drop him.
Well,
That's
that's
what
what
I
I
just-
somebody else in.
what I just
That's
asked.
fair, yeah.
Drop him.
Do you
Drop
replace
him.
him, or do you?
Drop him and get somebody else in. Simple as that.
That was my question.
Simple as that. And
Because
it's-
again, it's not that
and it's-
easy in a
it's-
salary
it's
cap
like,
sport when there's
and
part
I
of
say,
his
but,
contract.
you know,
still to
and
it.
I'm not advising any coach out there because you know they'll say, well, we know better than you, Scott, but it's not like Richie Agar that's got the problem. So is Steve McNamara. He needs to drop Marty Smith. Darryl Powell needs to drop Rankin because they're not good enough. They're not good enough.
But who do they bring in to replace him?
Well, Jake Truman can organise from there, you know, so Vitality can maybe fill in for there. Marty Smith, it's quite simple. Lange has to go back to number. Lange has to go back to number
So
6.
what if Leeds
Well,
if
Who
Leeds
gets
drop
Who
Milo,
gets the
what
blame
do
for
they do?
signing him? It's Hetherington who signed him,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah. But who? All right, you drop him. Who are you going to bring in?
I'll tell you what,
With the squad that they've got at the moment.
Well, McLaren, they brought McLaren. They brought him, didn't they, to do that job.
But he may be not yet ready to do that.
Well, when's he going to be ready? When he's 28.
Well, he's only just come back to rugby league. Isn't he?
And you know,
They may
I'm-
feel that he's progressing, but he's not ready to.
He's only
take
just
on
come
that
back to rugby league. He's played rugby league all. He's played rugby league all his
But
life
he-
up till
but he-
hold on, Phil, up till
but he
16.
went for a year.
Then went, he went for 12 months, but he's played rugby league. So when's he going to be ready? Then
So
28.
No, maybe next season.
Rubbish.
But maybe he's not ready
Rubbish.
to.
Load of tosh.
Yeah, it's
Load
like-
of tosh.
Well, I think that's why he's not playing at the moment, because they don't think he's ready.
Well-
They've had a look at him and they don't think he's
Well,
quite
would he
ready
got
to
better
do
than 4 out of 10? Surely you get 3 just for turning
I
up,
wouldn't
don't
have given
you?
him for. I wouldn't
No,
give him
surely you must get 3 just for turning up.
Right,
with the
right in your
kit on.
name. Right in your name, you
Hey,
get
come
one.
on.
just to pour scorn on these numbers though, Bradford got stuffed by Lee yesterday, and Jordan Lilly got 8th. We can't have been that good because they scored 20 points and got beaten by 32. I tell you what is though, if you're ready for this week's scapegoat at Leeds Rhinos, because he's going to play at fullback because he has to do, because they haven't got anyone else. Ashton Golding got a 9 for Featherstone this week as they battered Widnes. He'll be in the team because Lola Hayes off with Tonga, so he'll be the one to
he
play
won't,
when
because Walker will be back.
Oh, poor Ashton.
Oh.
Can't get a game when everyone's on.
5-year contract. They even put his name. They even cut his number in the pitch, didn't they? And he still can't get a game.
What do you think to the Watkins situation? Has that worked out well for everybody concerned?
No, it might work out well for Leeds if they can get a player, and if they can't, it's a disaster.
It gives them the ability to do that, but it's good.
No,
it's good for
it's
Callum.
all right having the ability to do it, mate. They've got to find a player they can bring
but
in.
They didn't have the ability to do that unless he had moved on, because they didn't have room in the cap. Works for Callum, do you reckon, that in 2 weeks' time he'll be flying out to the Gold Coast?
Does it work for Callum that he's probably going to earn more money, go play in the NRL with better players, in better environment,
in a nice,
better weather,
nice part of the world,
earning more money? Has it worked out well for Callum? I think it probably has, in fairness.
Going to play him in the
Getting
centres.
out of Leeds where his teammates are, well, unbelievable.
You think
really.
he'll play in the centre? You watched a bit of the Gold Coast this year.
You know what? Is this a gamble that now might have backfired on Leeds? Getting rid of him, brave move, getting rid of him. I understand why they did that. But is it backfired? Because if they don't get a player in that's better than Watkins, and it's alright to say, Watkins out of form, blah blah blah. Callum Watkins might have won in one game that saves them from relegation. He's now not. He ain't going to win many games now because he's not there.
It's going to depend on how they
and
if they can use that.
Or he might have done that one bit of magic that can get in that game and getting that 2 points.
That's what I mean. He might have made a break that wins them a match.
But also as well, let's have a look at this in Leeds from 3 points here. The size of a club like Leeds, and we've talked about recruitment. You've gone on about recruitment.
It's been terrible,
right,
Gary. It's been terrible.
Correct, Mark. For the last 4 years, right? But three things this year, right? They bring Wellington Albert in on trial. Well, if Wellington Albert's good enough for Leeds, I'm good enough for Leeds at 54. And then what do we go and do? We go to Australia, sign somebody who nobody's ever heard of. We can't even pronounce his surname from there.
He's been good.
Right, has he?
I'll tell you what, I enjoyed Craig Murdoch having to pronounce his name.
What mark did he get?
Right,
Sema Famangai got 6.
Yeah, all right, and Phil, so 6.
I think he's given some go forward.
When I played crap, I give myself a 6. So that's
how you did. But what did the paper give you?
They'd have given me
Pete Smith would have given you a 3.
Pete Smith would have given
you a 3.
And then thirdly, they're letting the captain go. It's absolutely, for a club like Leeds, taking a trialist on who Jamie Field at Unsick Parkside is better than him. Then we bring a front rower in to make some.
What's happened to Wellington?
Hard yards, and then
he's training.
Is he still there?
And then the captain, they sack the captain, sack the player, and off he goes.
He was in the 19s this week.
Who was?
Wellington.
I mean,
so the point is then, Leeds, whatever we laugh and joke about, they are in crisis.
This is serious, mate.
And this was not a good weekend for the Leeds Rhinos.
Hey, listen.
As we will talk about in a minute.
Mark, hey, listen, let me just say this. I'm not laughing about this. As an ex-captain, I played for the club 253 times. I'm not laughing about this. I am not laughing. It hurts. This bloody well hurts to see the dross, what I am seeing. Bloody well hurts.
Biggest winners for Leeds, of course.
Hold on, didn't the free bar on Friday make up for that?
Want a free bar? No, yeah, 2 lads away from Keighley. They want a free bar neither.
Well, you said you'd had a few beers, so someone must have bought you some.
Well, we were going around, what with them? San Miguel's that cheap. But hey, listen, apart from that, tell you, this is serious times for Michael.
Hold on. You just say that, it's Richard's heart bleeding. You can hear it on the podcast. He's in tears, he's like that.
You are as well. Look at you.
Laughing.
Biggest winners out of this is whoever's got Callum Watkins furniture on the cheap on Facebook, so that was the positive for them.
There you go.
Weekend.
Is it a barbecue furniture going? I remember a barbecue in 29th of June.
What about the off-field shenanigans at Wigan? Because that all sort of really...
Stop changing the subject.
I'm thinking of the listeners who are now going, why are you talking about Leeds?
Yeah, but they all enjoy it. They all enjoy it.
They won a game, so it doesn't matter how that
Adrian Lamb, to me, seemed slightly different in the press conference on Friday. He's always struck me as being jovial and quite amicable, and he came in there and said it had been a really difficult week. I got the impression that was the week that whatever has to stop, stopped at Wigan.
Well, I heard people say, well, you can't mollycoddle the players once they're not under your control. That's not his fault.
I don't think you can watch him 24/7, but you do lay down Well, if somebody is, and I'm going to use a word I wouldn't normally use, stupid enough not to see the consequence of their action, that they think it's acceptable at 4 o'clock in the morning to get in a car and drive when they know they've had too much alcohol, then I don't think there's anything a club or a coach can do about that. But I think what the club can
but what
do
the
is set an
consequences?
overall...
What
it's
the
the third
what the
way
consequences?
Yeah.
Is a third. This is a fourth drink-related
Yeah.
incident. With Joel
That's
Tompkins, remember, and Sam Tompkins last year led to Joel going out of the club. That happened. You've had a player
Sam
failing a
Bixall.
drug test. You've had Zach Hardacre. You've had Mullen, and now this guy. That's 4 drink-related events, 5 serious breaches.
Yeah.
But none of the players ever got rid of. All right, Tompkins goes, but that really did suit Wigan that he went. They feel they got a better player in young Greenwood, right?
So how would
Until
what
one of
would
them,
you like to see?
I would
the
imagine
hierarchy at Wigan?
Chris Radlinski should have gone into training after the second one and gone, right, next one that gets done, whoever it is, whether it's you Williams or you the youngest kid in the team, if it happens, you're gone. You out. You will be sacked. We're not putting up. This is Wigan Rugby League Club. You're not dragging our name through the mud. You get locked up, whatever. You're gone. No, there's no excuses.
Should they have announced that?
You
publicly?
can't tell me Talima Tautai can't afford a £5 for a taxi to training or whatever it is, or get a lift to training or whatever.
He's got to pay 12 grand fine,
or ringing
12
sick or whatever.
grand
You know,
fine, yeah.
you can do that. And I know people make mistakes, but there's no consequences there.
So
There's
should
no
they have come out
consequences.
with a much stronger statement?
But it'd be easier to bin him off. He's out of contract
Oh yeah,
at the end of the season.
he may never play for him again.
So,
and they're already
again,
making plans
but-
to replace him anyway.
But that's the point, isn't it? That's the point. When you allow one to get away, this is what we said about Hardacre. You allow one to get away with it, you've set a precedent, and they've set their own precedent, and it's hurting them now. And I think they've dropped a, they've messed up. for
Well,
want of a
you
better
mentioned
phrase.
there, Matt, to be honest with you. Yeah, all right. They should have maybe done after the second one, but now they can't sack anybody because there's too many done it out. They can't.
Yeah, but you've got to draw a line somewhere,
I
guy.
agree
And
with
if
that.
they don't, it'll
Yeah,
carry on.
yeah, but
It'll carry on. And then you go, well, you can't sack me because you didn't sack
Well,
him.
exactly. Well, I agree because that's when loyals are coming to it. That's when Wigan will get sued because if you let him off,
Well, it's gross misconduct. You've been
that's
found.
if it's written down, but it may not be.
No, it's
Well,
gross misconduct, isn't it?
There's nothing to stop them writing it into every contract,
Exactly, I agree with that.
existing or
But
otherwise.
if it's not written in the contract, then they can't. They won't get away with it because they'll
But
get sued.
should they have made a stronger statement? Because this.
But also, is Tautai good enough for Wigan? He's never been a Wigan.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
Yeah, I know it's
That's
not the point. I know it's not the point.
You know,
But
that's
it
not the point.
almost came out because of good investigative journalism by the local paper who were looking through the court ranks. Should Wigan have issued a statement? I mean, it was clear.
Well-
he was hardly going to plead not guilty.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's a poor look on Wigan, and I think they're a better club than that. And I think they regard themselves as a better club than
Do you
that.
think the players have lost respect for Radlinski? What's gone on before?
Well,
i.e.
I
with Sean
would
Wayne-
question.
with the
Gary.
Sean Wayne
I would
situation?
question what the hell is happening there. You know, I would honestly.
And I would absolve Adrian Lamb from that because he looked to me like a man who'd had enough of dealing with that sort
Again,
of stuff. Because
the,
he's
the,
caught in
co-
the
the
middle.
coach in incidents like that is only as powerful as the
Absolutely.
people above him.
And he's an almost.
So if he says, "I want the next one out," I want a bit to go in there and say the next one's going. You've got to come out and
but
say
until
that's the
they
case.
appoint him for next year, if
Well,
that's
why
what
ain't
they're
he
going to
being
do,
appointed? Why ain't he
they
being appointed?
undermine him anyway, don't
Why aren't he
they?
being appointed?
When because they never do, whatever the sport. This is why Gordon Taylor was the highest paid union leader in the world, because he would defend everything his members did to the hilt. When are the players going to take responsibility for their own actions? Because we can do as much as we want to promote them as superstars and whatever, but we've got to end this culture in rugby league of making everyone who's made a mistake out to be the next big superstar, because we've got this redemption culture. We've done it with Zach, we're doing it we did it with Scott Moore at the start of the season, we're going to do it with the next cab off the rank, and you all know who that is without me saying it, because that's what's going to happen, because we've got this grief culture in rugby league. When can we stop and the players stop so we can actually actively promote the Jake Connor, who is a star on the field, and we don't have to spend time wasting time on these people who are dragging our sport in the mud?
Well, until we have a policy like the NRL have, and you know, you bring it in, and all right, you'll have a few lads that'll fall by the wayside, and there'll be lads that have got issues, or ladies, there's a ladies' game as well. But until you actually say you are honoured to play in our competition,
Yeah.
and we're going to get rid of you, if
And
you
you're well
don't-
rewarded.
Clubs have.
Well, some will say they're not
Well,
well
the
enough
clubs
for
have breathalyzer tests anyway now, don't they? So I'm hearing that. So I hear
I don't
they
know.
have breathalyzer tests at training.
KPW says the same thing. Is it time the RFL, or bracket Super League, I guess, take this on and take action and suspend players from the league for their actions off the field?
If
They have to be
it's
responsible for what they
bringing
do.
the game into disrepute, then yes. But one thing I would say, I didn't think the standard of the game on Friday was as bad as you did. But one of the highlights for me, and one of the reasons I think why Wigan went on and won it, was the performance of Morgan Smithies. And when we're talking about what does Talima Tautai bring to Wigan, and will there be obviously not as devastated because they were going to get rid of him anyway. Should they have signed him in the first place? Was he? Morgan Smithies looks like a real talent that could fill in that gap. I don't know what mark he got in Jonathan's assessment.
Move on.
But for me, him coming off the bench turned the game Wigan's way.
7. Saroon. That was the wrong thing.
Okay, right. Go
People
on,
want
Rich.
us to talk about the championship, but about the rebranding of. We'll talk about that later.
We will definitely talk about
Got
it.
some transfer news.
Go on.
Hull KR have signed Harvey Levesque from Hull KR.
Who did I say they'd sign him? They'd sign him. That was clear.
To go with Lewis Johnson.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. That one. I
Well,
like Livett.
well,
I
he's
can't
been-
believe he's not getting in at
well,
Morris.
this
This time last year, Harvey Levesque was being touted as a England
He's a
international.
good
wasn't
player.
I think that was by us on.
Where did he?
on radio
He's got a hat trick at Leeds.
Leeds, yeah.
He's got a hat trick. He got a couple.
Yeah,
didn't
no, he
he?
got a hat trick, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see him get a chance in Super League because I saw him at this summer bash and I thought, again, no disrespect to the championship or whatever, and no disrespect to Rochdale, but they're bottom of the table. He's far better than the bottom of the table championship side.
He is. He is.
So it's
That's
good to see him
another
there.
great signing for Hull KR. And you look at the teams that are congregating at the bottom of the table, and everybody's got something that's a positive about them at the moment.
Apart from Wakefield.
Except maybe, well, I was going to say, except
Oh,
maybe,
Leeds.
whatever Scully says, and he's not here at the moment, Leeds are slightly improving than where they were a month ago.
Well, I think they were back halfway through the second
They're
half.
improving,
Yeah,
but they're still bottom
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
league.
but Huddersfield and Wakefield are not currently improving. And I think Hull KR will improve with the signing of Harvey Levesque.
Look at these. These are our diabetic buns, by the way.
Wow.
Created by our chef.
It's almost worth being ill.
We can't afford any clothes, but we've got a good chef.
All that later.
So we're doing all right. We're doing all right. They're not easy to eat, these, when you're talking. So we will quickly wrap up what happened. And we've got to talk about what happened on Saturday, because I think Saturday
What a day!
was the greatest day of the Super
Well, I
League
think
season
it's
by
a
a mile.
This is a conspiracy by Robert Elston to make the Super League more competitive and more exciting than the Championship.
Well, it's nice to see him having an input into something
He's
that
read
we're
that,
seeing.
he's read that criticism of Super League being rubbish, and he's thought, come on, lads, just throw a couple of bad results in. Come on.
Right. Scully, no, so just when we need Scully to start talking, he eats,
Well, look-
takes a big bite of his bun.
Well, just to sum it up, Catalans, Matty Smith, too slow, I'm faster than him, rubbish. London. Danny Ward, next Leeds Cup.
Scully, you're sacked. We've got you.
I don't sound like that, do I?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A spitting image puppet on the corner, we do it like
Do
that.
I? I'm going to start listening to the podcast. Is that how I sound?
It was a fantastic
Go on, you
win.
go,
by-
Hold on, Richie. That sounds as though I've had a gallon and a half of what you were saying from there. But yeah,
It was almost like being back in Stoggies for a minute.
yeah. So Tamil Smith sound. But anyway,
Hull
but,
KR were magnificent.
no one about Catalans. You said?
No, I'm just, it was the first game of the two.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
was
Right.
Hull KR and,
Right.
and Warrington, and the resilience that they showed at the end of the game to pull it out of the fire. But we talk about performances of the week, and obviously Jake Connor from a skill level, but Adam Quinlan to come back from 7 months out, to put in a match-winning performance, to score the winning try, backing up a move that started 70 metres from his own, and the influence he had on the players around him, as well as listening to Tony Smith interviewed afterwards, the things that he's trying to change to.
Well, I spoke to
it's
Tony
not
during
tactics,
the week, and he
it's-
was clearly excited that
Yeah.
Quinlan might be available.
I think he's changing attitude, whatever this word culture is. He's asking people to make sacrifices. He's not giving them master tactics to beat opposing teams. He's just changing the way they think about the game and their responsibility to the shirt. That's had a massive impact.
OKR brought him in for the
Well,
last 13 games. Why didn't Leeds bring him in for the last 14 games? But anyway,
did you hear the interview
haven't-
that Will Dagger did with Radio Humberside?
no, I didn't. But anyway,
Right,
that'll do.
but that's real, because Will Dagger was basically saying Tim Sheens was far too laid back. That as a player, Dagger was never really sure what he was doing right, what he was doing wrong, what was expected of him, which position he was going to play in. what things he needed to work on one week that was different to the week before when he thought he'd rectify. And it was quite a... did you hear it, Rich? It was quite a slating.
What position is he, Dagger?
Well, they played him at half, didn't he, in the first game? And they played him on the wing. But he's worked under Tony Smith at Warrington. And it's clear that Smith has come in and completely changed the way
Didn't he leave Warrington under Tony Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting,
Because he won't get engaged, won't he? But also as well, from Warrington's point of view, Phil, and I guess with Mark as well, lack of respect for Warrington for OKR, leaving players out, lack of respect for the fixture, lack of respect for OKR, lack of respect for Tony Smith, who knows the Warrington players.
Hold on a second, because Sid was moaning. He was moaning like hell the week before.
Isn't he in the positive?
About St Helens resting players against London. So you're telling me that Warrington left some players out against Hull KR? Wow.
Squad management.
Who did he leave out, by the way?
Well, Clark was one.
Darryl Clark.
I reckon there were 5.
They were about 5, I think.
5. So they were saying. I'm not so sure. That's what was mentioned, but
It still looks quite a strong team.
Yeah, exactly on paper.
5.
But it's a lack of respect. But anyway, take nothing away. Hunkers Rovers, they fully deserved it. Listen
to pull a win out.
Listen to the
in the
commentary.
last minute of the game.
They fully deserved it. I'll tell you what as well.
But how
is
now?
it Ryan Shaw on the wing?
Yeah.
Why are they getting rid of him?
He can kick goals.
Yeah, but they're getting rid of him.
Oh boy.
Punch him.
Craig Hall's got you.
We should be applying with a bun. Just pie him.
I'll enjoy that. Boy, oh boy. Give me some pies. But
how?
I'll tell you
I
what,
know
he can honour, but he can not only play him, he can kick goals.
Yeah, but why are they
he can
getting
kick
rid
goals
of
from anywhere. He can turn the 4 into 6.
He'll be a good signing for
It
some.
will be a good sign.
But we'll get to the predictions at the end. But I don't know how you can pick a winner on London and Hull KR this week.
Shut up, Phil. We'll manage.
Easy.
Right, so
But seriously, both of those performances were astonishing.
well, after Hull KR
performances.
won, I was like gutted for London. You think, they're back in the mire.
Yeah, exactly.
Lucky London,
Exactly.
back in the mire.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And then I saw the full-time result and thought, what the hell has happened there?
Well, do you know what,
And
Mark?
Catherine were lucky to get 12.
After that under-8s performance against Warrington, I say under-8s, for 30 minutes they were alright
They
against
played
Warrington.
well for 30
And then
minutes.
for 50 minutes they were like under-8s. And I thought, surely, Macca, he was, blaming, we've had travel from Barcelona, we've had to go to Hull, we've had to go to Gatwick, and, but we're back home now, and we're looking for a reaction. The bottom club from there. We was even saying, London, well, yeah, they'll go to Catalans. They won't turn it in, but they'll be waiting for Hull Rovers this Thursday night. And then I was thinking, I saw the team sheet, and then I thought, oh no, he's kept him. He's kept Matty Smith at 7. I'm not just blaming Matty Smith. You've got to blame all the 17, but he's picked a player there who I'm sure some players in that dressing room are thinking, why is he picking him? He's too slow. Everything what he does is absolutely too slow to process. But he's not the only one who's not performing. The rest of them.
Well, Tompkins dropped a couple of
Yeah,
balls.
exactly.
Normally a drop.
For the rest of them, the rest of them as well. But from Matty Smith's point of view, he's too slow in everything what he does. But the rest of them as well, they play like under-8s. But take nothing away from London.
I think there were two things. One is we all thought, because again we're predicting before we've seen the squads, that Danny Ward, if anybody was going to rest some players this week, it would be him. And he didn't. I think it's to his massive credit that every week he picks what he believes is his best team.
You know what the players want to play every week, Phil?
No, but it might be the coach says, I know you want to play every week, but I need you on Thursday when we're playing Hull KR, so you're not. He could have quite easily turned around
Phil,
to Joel and Abdul and said,
Phil,
you're not playing.
No, but I tell you, no, Phil.
But the fact that they did.
Well, let me just say this then, Phil. The players will be going, Danny,
Yeah.
Danny, I want to play today and I want to play Thursday.
Yeah, no.
This is the attitude what
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
got. This is what they've got, these players.
It's the coach's inalienable right, as he must, to pick the games that he wants his players to play in, that they're going to have the best and most maximum impact. But Danny doesn't think that way. That's why I'm saying it's a massive credit to him.
I'll tell you what.
A massive credit to him
I'll tell
that
you what,
everybody
then.
played.
Right, well, I'll tell you what then.
And they stayed
Right.
over. They weren't one of these teams that
Right.
went on a plane and flew back after.
Right.
They didn't come back till Sunday night.
Well, London Broncos have played 18 games. I don't think London Broncos have been walloped by 60 points or 50 points like Hull, because all the players, they don't want resting.
But
they don't even want... Eddie Batty,
Whether
Eddie
they
Batty
do or
just
they
wants to
don't.
play 90 minutes at a time.
I thought they would. I think we all thought that he may have withdrawn some of. He doesn't have a squad of 25.
It doesn't matter, Phil. The players don't want the rest.
But the coach may have tactically wanted them to, if he'd valued Thursday's games. But he did it. I've said it's to his absolute credit that he said, no, we can win any game we're playing, and if everybody goes out, then Elliot Keir was magnificent again.
They all what?
250th career game.
Absolutely magnificent.
How good is that Jay Picks? How good is Kieran Dixon?
Yeah,
How good is he
actually.
showing? Do you know what I mean? Because they're being allowed that expression and that enjoyment to play with a smile on their face. I tell you what, why don't Steve McNamara say to Matty Smith, can you take a rest for 6 months?
But the only thing I was going to say about Catalan was that's the first time I can remember they had 6 Frenchmen in the pack, and the 3 replacements were French.
So what?
I think that's important for the sport. I mean, everybody criticises Toronto because they haven't got any Canadians, but irrespective of the fact that they may or may not have played very well, it was good to see the Dragons having an all-French pack.
There's a picture in the paper this week of a Canadian rugby league player. Alfred Nicholas.
Yes,
In the paper.
I saw the Masters on the pitch after the main game. Yeah,
Oh, because you were there, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I saw
forgot
that.
that.
Well, let's take nothing away here from London. I'll tell you, they are absolute quality, and they are a pleasure to watch. And
Yep.
I know my hands up. Yes, I know exactly what I said about London. I tell you what, you deserve to stay in Super League, and if you do finish bottom, I tell you, Super League, make it a 14-team comp. They don't deserve to get relegated.
The manner they played, the exciting way they moved the ball around was an absolute. You know when Salford went to Catalan and won by 40 odd nil, and you sat there watching it, going, "That's the way to play Catalan. Keep moving the ball, get on the outside of them, annoy Tony Gigo, who when he's good, and when he isn't, he isn't." And London played the almost perfect game plan. I don't think they made many mistakes. I can't remember it. But they moved the ball. They had Abdul was fantastic.
Do you know what you do with Tony Gigo? Right? You know what you do with
He
him?
clearly doesn't like playing in a team.
Well,
the spine he doesn't.
Yeah, but do you know what you do with him? Every time you tackle him, or every time you walk by him, you go, "Hey, Tony, okay? I tell you what, you're playing well, mate, aren't you? You're playing well."
He believes it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Hey, you're playing well, aren't you?
He tries the miracle play every time.
You just keep geeing him up. I tell you what, you've got a 12 out of 10, haven't you? It's only 5 minutes gone. How well are you playing? Honestly, that's what you do with players like that. Honestly,
but there's something isn't right. In the
oh,
balance
mate,
of that
there's
team.
nothing. Do you know? I don't. I think I know a little bit about management. I think I know about what a dressing room is like. Steve McNamara, and I feel sorry for Steve.
But Steve could see that.
I've plenty of time. What I'm saying is, I've plenty of time for Steve McNamara, and he's a quality coach who's proved that. But what I feel sorry for Steve was, how does he manage all the egos? I just don't get it, because he can't. I can't get a tune out of him. Can't get a tune out of him.
Is it selection though?
Well, of course it is.
Does it begin and end with his choice of who we play?
Absolutely. Matt Smith should be dropped straight away.
Well, it comes back to recruitment.
Yeah,
They've
again,
recruited
again,
wrong,
yeah,
and it's
again,
going to expand.
again.
Last year they
Drinkwater,
recruited
which
brilliant. When they bought
Drinkwater,
Edwards and Drinkwater,
Yeah.
it turned their team around.
Absolutely.
And now they ain't got that, and that team for me is vastly underperformed.
Significant that Tony Smith's got a tune out of Drinkwater very quickly as well.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. I think it takes more than one game, doesn't it? Or two.
Yeah.
Well,
But London,
got the
sensation.
contract.
Aren't they? Plenty
I
to watch.
agree. I'm going on Thursday. Can't wait.
Coming up, it is Steve Prescott, Man of Steel, laughing at the votes time. But we're back in the charts in Luxembourg. That's the other good news.
Oh,
Vic says Leeds surely missed the trick not getting Tony Smith back. I mean, he's in the country and available. And judging by your interview with him last week, Mark, he was happy to be back involved.
He was,
in rugby league.
yeah.
I don't think again. Tony Smith has only taken the job to the end of this season. He could be on the market.
Yeah.
For next season.
And,
I'll tell you what though, Hull car would be daft not to be.
But if
pushing.
the worst came to the worst, then they were the team when the music stopped that were at the bottom.
It's a fair point.
a couple of Warrington fans concerned about Chris Hill's form this year. The slowness of Ben Westwood.
I agree.
The one worry I have about Warrington is their forward pack. They got battered at St Helens. They got bullied at St Helens. What are you on about?
That's just Benny saying on the game on Thursday, saying it's a draw to Leeds and bottom.
I did say that earlier. Could be a contrived result.
Hold on, we haven't got to the predictions.
This isn't
Don't be laughing
Peru in
yet.
the World Cup.
Yeah, there's 45
Football
seconds,
World
45 minutes to go before
Is
it
it
starts.
Argentina and Peru?
Just
Parrot.
imagine if London need to win by 90 points on the last day of the season to relegate Leeds and they go to Wakefield, what would happen? They'll probably lose 24-0. But anyway, that's by the by.
I don't think Michael Carter will be asking them to play
That's
like...
by the by.
I don't think Michael Carter will be asking them to play like they're playing at the moment, like Catalan, like under 8.
What were we on? The packet at Warrington. Murdoch Masilla's not making the impression he's made in seasons gone by.
He's not playing enough
as well, isn't he?
I think Cooper's all right, but I think Cooper.
People have learnt about his offloads. They're wrapping him up a bit more.
Yeah,
I'm on the Warrington podcast.
It's easy to criticise when they've lost, but I do think that's one potential weakness, that if you stand up to their forwards, they've got to show they can do it.
And one thing for sure,
and I think that's where Hull will beat them.
I agree totally. There's no two ways about that. But Ali one man's side, not totally. But if anything happens to Blake Austin, they're gone.
What about Darryl Clark as well? They
could compensate for that, because they could maybe put Declan Patton in. Kevin Brown may come back in sometime July, August, so he'll be like a new signing. So, but Darryl Clark, they could make massive miss. Don't get me wrong from there. But if anything happens to Blake Austin, they'll be finished.
Steve Prescott Man of Steel award.
Oh yes,
nominee votes.
I do hope Richie Myler's got.
We haven't spoke about. Is this to stop us talking about Wakefield? Because that's the only game we haven't spoke about.
And then we can talk about the championship and how. Well, we'll go on to that. Castle Tiger versus Hull, 3 points. Albert Kelly, 2 points. Ratu Nalago, 1 point. Mark Sneed.
Not Connor.
That was me.
No, not in the
You
top.
didn't give Connor a point.
What did he do?
You need to go to Specsavers.
Yeah, you do.
You did
I think
that
he'd had
before
a
the
few
game.
pints.
You were like, oh,
Did you do that after 40 minutes?
Hey, let's get the Cornish pasties checked out.
Oh,
I had 2 Cornish pasties.
the cold heart was on the cold.
So you've just been outed as a
Sorry,
nugget there. You've outed yourself as a nugget.
Well,
hang on, because you think Scully. Oh, well, hang on. Scully's the biggest idiot this week. Well, let's
just
wait.
this week.
Let's wait.
I thought it would every week.
Some people might disagree with the points between Leeds and Wigan. I'll go bottom up. I'll do it in reverse order. It's like Miss
In
World.
third place.
1 point, Brad Dwyer. I don't know why I'm holding it like this.
I know who picked this as well, so go on.
1 point, Brad Dwyer. 2 points, Sam Powell. 3 points, man of the match, Trent Merrin. I mean, he did have a good game.
He was Leeds' best player.
But Leeds
Was that Ellery?
No.
I didn't remember.
No, it wasn't the Pearl.
Out the
Robbie on the Paul.
Leeds did not win that game. When do you have to pick the 3?
No, at the end.
After the game.
I saw Scully doing it.
After the game, I did Salford Wakefield history, and well.
Oh, well, come on then a bit. No, come on then.
You don't do
So,
5 minutes
Merrin,
after,
was he man of the match?
Merrin was Leeds' man of the match. He wasn't.
He wasn't the man of the match.
I have Morgan Smith.
Only
is
one
down,
Wigan
so.
playing in there when they won the game.
Sean O'Loughlin.
It shows you that the sides were very close together.
Yeah, but still, Wigan won.
Alright, any more?
Saints Huddersfield, which none of us saw. Walmsley, Farge, Thompson. Ulkiar, Warrington, Quinlan, Garbett, King. Catalans, London, Abdul, Yahar, Dixon. And
Nobody from Castellan should have been in that voting. Even if it doesn't matter.
Ford Yahar is in there. And Salford versus Wakefield, Hastings, Louis, Jones.
To tell you what, Aaron Bower needs to go to Specsavers, because he didn't even give in League Express, didn't even give Hastings a point. Aaron, get him sent to Specsavers.
He was brilliant.
We need this sponsored by Specsavers.
He was brilliant. He was. We'll talk about that then. Wakefield.
Where's the hour tune music? I need to go off and Biddy Press.
The headline coming out of it is that Wakefield are a relegation scrap. My headline coming out of it was Jackson Hastings and Robert Louis. If you could get them in a very good team, and this is no disrespect to Salford, they're a well coached team, but you put them behind, the likes of Wormsley, etc. They'd be unplayable.
Well, you look at that half-back pair. It's like Farge and Lomax at St Helens. Look at the pack of forwards being from there. But what Salford's pack of forwards are doing for Robert Louis and Hastings, they're getting into great field position. And I was watching them yesterday, and it was a pleasure to watch them. The way they were organising, they wasn't just playing left and right. They both went on the same side at times. The communication with Louis and the full-back was a nice little chip from room. That little kick there with Jackson Hastings to Wellham, just hey, they're holding off me, just nice. I'm just going to put a little kick through. Off you go. Well, easy. If I tell you what, Phil, you could have scored that with your knee bandage on. To be honest with you, it was that easy. But it was a pleasure to watch them yesterday. 2 quality halfbacks with the organisation, the direction, the individual quality what they've got from there, and the ripped Wakefield apart. And what I will say about Wakefield, and I'll tell you what, I got me saying massive arguments last year, didn't I? Was it the year before with the big man my feet when I says, Wakefield were soft, not soft as people. Let's get that straight away. But that performance on their forward pack, and even Chris Chester said it as well, simply not good enough. That from the forwards yesterday was soft. It was
Do you
very,
think that
very soft.
Chester will get a reaction from his forwards because he was scathing afterwards?
Well, the one, and this
because
is
he's got injuries, and it sounds as though not many are coming back next week.
the problem I have, right, and this is one thing I've learned, and I know we criticise players at times or we question performances. I would imagine at least two of those forwards shouldn't have played. Is that your fault?
Yeah, it certainly is.
All right. Two of those forwards shouldn't have played. I think a couple of them were injured. So it's alright, I was going, oh, they were rubbish, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. But clearly he ain't bothered. He's come out and said they were soft. What did he say? They couldn't get out of the paper bag or something.
Yeah, couldn't get the way out of the paper bag.
They had no go forward at all. And Miller and Brough, I know Miller scored 2 tries and one of them was brilliant, but he didn't do the day job, if you know what I mean. Once they got in the red zone, there was nothing there.
No.
There was they were more likely to score from their own half. Than
Well, do you know what? This moment in time as well, I'll put Broughy in the same bracket at this moment in time with Matty Smith and with Rankin and with Myler. It's too slow.
Well,
He's doing nothing. All Broughy's doing. We put a kick through in the first half. I think it was on the 3rd tackle. No communication between his teammates. Just a little bit of individual thing. So at this moment in time, the process what Broughy's going through, it's too slow. And he's just waiting for the last tackle to kick the ball. It's creating absolutely nothing with ball in hand.
My only defence of Brough is going to be he's obviously not fit.
Well, he should be playing then. He's their final piece in the jigsaw, allegedly.
Did they go sideways again like they did?
Oh, did they ever?
Because it was pathetic against Leeds, because they just had no go forward at all. It was just go left and right. I said last week, and it's like watching Ray Wilkins left and right, left and right, left.
They struggled. You know, they really did struggle, and it's sad to watch.
But how did they turn it round? Bearing in mind they're at Warrington, who were coming off the back of a defeat.
I think they play Huddersfield the week after next.
Yes.
That's a massive.
I think, and this is a problem. I don't think he can
Is that
do it.
Huddersfield or Wakefield?
I think it's a
Wakefield.
Was that for the 100th
I think they've
time?
got to chuck in Friday.
Well,
They've got to chuck it in. They've just got to say, we're going to play the under-19s. We'll chuck it. If we get beat 80, we get beat 80. We need to get some bodies back.
preparing for the middle
We
eight.
need to get some bodies back for the week after. Because they're now getting to the point. They've got to go to Saints. They've got to go to Wigan. They've got some big games. They've got Hull KR, I think. They've got London to play. Have they played Leeds? They've got Leeds again?
No, they've got
Leeds
played
have
Leeds
done
3
Leeds.
times.
So it's Huddersfield. I think they might have Huddersfield twice.
The thing is, when does confidence become an issue? Because we've seen it with teams that there's a point where you're on a losing run where it becomes more of a losing run.
It's not terminal.
Who
But
are
I'd be
the
starting to
players
get
that are going
worried.
to turn it around? Because obviously
Bill Tupou's
Danny
coming
Kerman's but he's not going to be match fit.
But this is the thing.
But it will be in a few weeks.
Yeah. But will they have a few weeks? Where will they be in a few weeks?
They've got 2 weeks. Even if they lost the next 2 games, they might not be bottom of the table.
But Danny Kerman's got to be an injury worry these days.
Well, he hurt his knee yesterday, so it didn't look very good. So hopefully he's all right.
Randall's not available. Concussion. He's not available for Friday.
The biggest
They're
concern.
on about bringing the big man for feet. I won't bring him back.
Well, the
This
biggest
week.
No, I
concern
wouldn't.
is-
I'd leave him out.
the
There's
biggest
no
concern-
point.
Yeah, I agree.
What is wrong with David Fafita? Because they can't find what's wrong with David Fafita. Something's wrong with him because he can't train. But what's wrong with him?
I don't know.
They've done all the tests. They've done all the this and that and the other. They don't know what's wrong with him.
You're a well-connected man, aren't you?
Well, taking the press conference with Chris Chester last week. I think fans need to stop picking on targets.
Why are they picking on?
Picking on Danny Kerman because he's always injured. He's
No.
probably been injured for the last 5
Kerman
years.
got injured yesterday with the best
But
bit
his
of
body-
attacking play Wakefield
Yeah,
had.
and also too, he gets injured, Danny Kerman, because he puts his body on the line.
No, I
That's
think
why.
he's important to them because he's the kind of player that can get them out of a slump because he's a leader that you can follow. And my worry is just he's not playing enough games at the moment because his body seemed absolutely broken.
And why is it broken, Phil? Because he put his hand up to
Because-
play
yeah,
when
because-
others
yeah,
weren't.
exactly.
And so anyone, in my opinion, that criticises Danny Kerman is, as this cup says, an idiot.
If Bill Tupou's fit this week, you don't play him, do you? You get him ready for
No.
the week after. Because
No.
that's what happened with Matty Ashurst. He played a couple of weeks ago when he probably was on the cusp and then got injured again.
I think some of those forwards weren't fit. But the question is, who do you play?
Well, the other interesting thing that was said by Chester at the press conference last week was they have gone past the time where they've offered players contracts or they've sent out the letters. I didn't know how this worked. They send them out a letter saying, yes, we're going to offer you a deal. No, we're not going to offer you a deal. We might offer you a deal, we don't know yet. So there are players in that squad who know they aren't going to be at Wakefield next year, and he has to motivate them as well to play well. It's a tricky one It's a tricky one. Judging by what people have said, I haven't seen Wakefield every week, that they haven't been playing well since the winners game in the Cup. And they only snuck past with us in the last 20 minutes, didn't they, for handicap backers? So it's not a new phenomenon.
Where would you play Ryan Hampshire? Because
I'd play Max Jowett
but he's injured.
if he was fit. I'd play the other young lad.
Would you move Hampshire into the
I'd play
Hampshire at the
Hoover.
moment if you
Yeah.
say?
You know what? Yeah, I would. I would.
Is that the answer in the short term?
Look, he's better than he was Hampshire. He struggled, didn't he? He went to Cass, it didn't work. He went to Leeds, it didn't work. I think having a bit of a regular home at Wakefield, and he's out of contract, he might be one of them that will be moving on. But I think he's busy and he asks questions. I'm not saying he's better than Brough or Miller. I just think it's a bit of something that they've got. Yeah.
And didn't he throw out the two passes to Ben Jones Bishop with his vision?
He did. He did.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, how do you change it around?
I think that maybe though, if Randall's injured, I don't know, maybe play him at number 9 or something. I don't know. I don't know. These are thankfully it's not our conundrum to sort out, is it? But they need to do something. Because
I'm just asking our resident
everyone on the and again I'll refer back to the tweets, but the one we had on the poll and hundreds of people, thanks to everyone that's tweeted in, were saying they think Wakefield are the team in trouble. They think they're the ones that are going down. I don't think that will happen. I think they'll win enough games, but it's getting a bit squeaky.
We said this time last week, although got most of the predictions wrong, that somebody was going to get dragged into this relegation dogfight, who at the moment doesn't look like they will. Now, I don't know who that team's going to be. You know what happened to Wakefield, don't you? I said that they could win Super League, and since then, I don't think they've won a game. It's my fault. I'm the Jonah.
Two things. Peter says, Paulie didn't want to go back. Well, I think that says something more about his attitude.
I thought he was one of their better forwards.
He did all right, actually.
He was one of their better forwards.
He got ripped in at times.
He's David. Amazing, he says. When Cass had injuries, it shouldn't be an issue. Now wait for their injuries. It's a different story with you lot. No, it's not.
No, it's
David,
not.
Go listen to Tiger Talk or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it more.
I think what we said about Cass is they had injuries, but they still had a very good team out there. Scully and I thought as soon as we got there, the team was good enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It proved it wasn't good enough. I think for Cass, they've only got, for me, off the top of my head, who would play in that team that didn't play?
Gale and Shenton.
Gale's gone for the year. You can't include Gale.
No, but if they were fit,
Shenton.
You can't include Gale. So
from knowing where you were at the start of the season.
So Shenton is the only player not available.
He's the one. There's probably a couple of other squad players that you might. Alex Foster might get in there, but Shenton,
they've recruited other players to cover for that.
Shenton is the one who would be straight in there if he was fit.
Yeah. But the big game players are just not performing. No. Another one who's gone way off the. He's gone way off the mark since he's been selected for England. It happened with Max Shane as well, but
Adam Milner.
Milner's gone way off the mark.
Well, new contract and
in the comfort zone, exactly in the comfort zone. He's another one like Max Shane. Like I said with Mark Sneed, the 2 slices of toast, a cup of tea, and then he decides to put the kick in. Normally, Milner's hunting down, isn't he? He's hunting down, but there's no purpose or enthusiasm from him.
You were at the Cass Huddersfield game the week before, which Cass sneaked in.
They robbed it. They robbed it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So if they hadn't won that, we'd be looking at they would be on 16 as well. With the teams that we're talking about are in a relegation dogfight.
Cass have to win this weekend for me. They have to win. I just said earlier. I think the belief has gone at Castleford.
They won't be this week.
Look, there's rumours about Darryl Powell. He's been linked with Leeds. Rumours he might be leaving. We don't, it just looks to me like they've hit a glass ceiling and it's just inhibiting everyone there.
There are players in that team who are not playing as well as they have in previous seasons. They're fit, but they're not playing as well.
Oh, is it if they get into the 5 and they're all firing, then you couldn't rule them out. They're one of the teams that could just turn up and win it, but. I'd be worried they're not going to get it. I think they might get into the 5 due to the incompetency of those below them rather than their abilities.
If they lose this week, they're out the 5, and then it's a tough road to get back.
Well, the 2 teams are chasing him, and I think there's Carlin's. Jeez, I don't know. Anyway, but Casford there, but the other 2 teams are chasing him, Salford and Wigan. You would say at this moment in time, Salford and Wigan are better than Cass.
Well, we'll know on Sunday.
Well, Salford play at Cass. But then Cass have got London, which all of a sudden
so what?
That's a gimme, that is not a gimme.
No, that's not a gimme. No way.
So they've got some tough games coming up.
There's only one decent team in the Wakefield Rhubarb Triangle anyway, and that's Feather.
It is Featherstone.
Because they're third in the...
yeah, we're going to talk about the Championship.
Well, all the Premiership is apparently it might be rebranded according to some fantasists.
Right, well, let's set it up then. Championship could be expanding again, looking to go to 16 teams. Fair enough.
Right.
They want to go to 16 teams. What does that mean for League One? Are they just going to burn League One off, or are we going to get more teams coming in at the bottom of League One? I'm reading this article in the paper. Matt Shaw and Aaron Bauer have written this one regarding the Championship taking control of its own future, which I get the reason behind that, and I think they need to do that. But they're saying if funding comes from Sky or whoever it may be, we've got to go out and get extra funding. Yeah, we all agree with that. We're happy for games to go on the Our League app. Is one of the quotes in here. The games on the Our League app will not get... the game on Sunday, for instance, was Lee against Bradford. Great game. Right, but however many games were on at the same time. So you're automatically lowering your own audience. They're on about getting a TV deal, right, and going on, 80,000 people watch it. What they fail to realise, right, let me just have my say, is people have Sky, right, you either have it because you like football or you might have it because you like rugby. So if there's rugby on and you've paid money to watch it, you'll watch whatever's on. You watch the game Toronto against who is it if there's no else on. You'll watch if it's Widnes against Batley or whoever if there's nothing else on, because that's why you've bought the service. If you weren't a rugby fan, I don't think many people watch the rugby on, not lower league rugby.
But
I think we're kidding ourselves if we think they are. And I think we've got to be careful. They're thinking, we've got this audience that watch it. You've got an audience because the people are able to watch Super League. If then you're going somewhere else, how do you know that audience is going to follow you? I don't think they are.
My worry about mentioning the R League app is that clearly the plan is to charge for it.
Yeah.
Now, the only people who are going to buy that are Rugby League fans.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many Championship fans are out there if the R League app was exclusively showing
we understand they've got 100,000 members, right?
Yeah,
now,
most
straight
of those
away,
are Super League fans.
there are 3 people at my house who've got an R League membership, and that's because one of the signings we had didn't work, so we registered another person in the family to get one, and then they forgot the password and they've got another one. So they've got 3. So straight away, 2 of them, and they're not going to buy it
but
if
a
it
lot
becomes
of people
sizable.
got it because England were being shown.
Yeah. So if you say, right, 100,000 people, it's 10 quid a season, that would raise you £1 million. How many of them 100,000 people are going to buy it?
They're not. Well,
they're not going to buy it.
The other thing as well is that if you're going to charge for something, you have to show the best that's available. You have to give people what's known in the trade as value for money.
Yeah.
And you're not going to do that with to everybody with a lower standard of rugby.
And also...
Which is not to say it isn't worth watching, but it is clearly a lower standard.
And also, if you say, and Derek Bowman, I think, quite said, we're happy to have our games on. So if you say, right, well, what we need, Derek, is actually, because all these games are at 3 o'clock, you're going to have to play at 6 o'clock on Sunday night.
Well,
which then knocks him 1,000 off his crowd and costs him 20 grand over the gate, and he's going, whoa, I'm not doing that. So I think it's very, I think there's a lot of short-sightedness here. People aren't going to pay.
Driven by the amount of money that the Championship and League One clubs think they're going to get in 2021, which is virtually nothing.
Yeah.
They can't guarantee a single
so
penny.
So we can't knock them for trying to come up with something
and
else.
they may get money in, and it might be through the filtering down of a Sky deal, which could be better than everybody expects, or it could be that they will go out and find some finance, part of it through maybe a share of the R League if they change it to a subscription service. But the other side of any coin of trying to balance a budget is cutting cost. So I think what they're looking at is, let's take the heart out of League One. So you would look, if it was today, at least one Cumbrian team. Newcastle maybe, because they've got an owner who's clearly trying to get out of that division as quickly as he can with the signings that he's making, and had a magnificent result this week. Possibly one of the results of the weekend that went under the radar, beating Whitehaven. They probably would want to take maybe a London Scholars if they were part of something bigger. Maybe Toronto actually did ever pay to have them as part. They possibly might want to take a Hunslet or an Oldham, who are traditional. So you can see why they would want to take the best of League One and bin the rest of it, because the rest of it gets paid a grant of £75,000 a year.
So hold on. There were absolute uproar when Super League
Of course.
wanted to withdraw funding from the lower league
But
clubs.
that's what they're going to do
But now
themselves.
they're in the same boat. They're going, well, what we need to do, lads, is we'll steal
maximise-
off the poor
yeah.
and look after us.
And the clubs that don't make it will become effectively community clubs.
Yeah.
The top end of the national conference.
But what have we said about that? Why do they not make it a pyramid where if you're in
Well,
the NCL and
there
you win
you
it,
go.
you got a League One?
And what they're planning on doing in the Championship has to link in with what the plan is for Super League as well. You can't do it on its own.
But what do we make of Steve Mascord then? He's been asking the question, why should Toronto want to get promoted? If they win the league, why would they want to go into Super League? You know, about this fantastic competition below it. We all know the merits of the Championship. We're not criticising the Championship per se. It's a good competition. But as you said, it's not elite level sport.
No.
And people will not pay
Well,
not to watch elite level
you
sport.
commentated on a game this weekend between a team that was full-time
Yeah.
and elite and a team that was part-time and for whatever reason, some of which can't be helped, couldn't get its first team to play that fixture.
Yeah.
And the scoreline ended up 70 points to 8. That goes against everything we've said that is good in Super League this week. And again, new 4020 is out now, Brian Noble's column. He is saying the playing staff, the coaching staff, the administration of Toronto have set their sights on playing at the highest level that they can, and that is Super League.
But why? And again, it'll come back. And there's been questions about Toronto. We've got to be honest about that. There's a lot of questions out in the ether at the minute that
certainly
need
worth
resolving.
asking. Yeah.
But it raises a question: who at the RFL thought it was a good idea to put them in the bottom division?
What was and if they did put them in the bottom division, why didn't they do the diligence 2 or 3 years in advance of what it would mean if they were in the top division? Because they were never coming in to be in the bottom division.
No.
So if you make a moral case, which you can't anyway because you didn't put Bradford in the bottom division when. But let's say any new club that comes in, they have to start at the bottom and work their way up, and you're going to adhere to that. I get that, but then you don't think about, well, what are the ramifications of that when they're going to hit the top division, when they're about to hit the top division? You put that whatever restrictions in or covenants in at the minute you admit them, and that's what we clearly didn't do. But again, it all boils down to the fact that will Toronto playing a better quality of team if they were in Super League be able to get the kind of broadcasting deal to supplement what is currently going on that the sport desperately needs?
We've got no idea, do we? Because we don't know how North America will react to a completely alien sport.
I think we do.
Keep saying.
I think
well,
we do.
I think we do. I'm sure we do. But we don't because we're dreamers.
I think the other thing is that happened in Toronto this week, which should be a lesson to Rugby League, is that the basketball team in the city won their first ever championship and don't have a single Canadian player. And apparently today the streets of Toronto were full of people celebrating that victory.
So
it's an irrelevance. It's an irrelevance. There were a lot of people there at the weekend. They were all having a good drink. They were all enjoying it. They made plenty
And the weather
of noise.
was crap as well. But
It wasn't great. It was a bit like today, a bit blustery, a bit.
Didn't stop them
bit
turning
cool.
out.
They were there.
6,500.
You know, and I was a bit because you see the ground. They thought there's not many here. They're still piling in after 20 minutes, all coming in with the beers and everything. And O'Brien kicks one from the sideline. They're all yee-hawing and whatever else. You know, they take part in the day. But the question is, again, once they go out of the championship,
But
what's this grand idea that they've got this competition that everyone wants to pay
and
to
their
watch?
attendance against a team that they knew they were going to beat was higher than 2 Super League attendances, not far off a third.
Here's some realism or negativity depending on where you come from. Hector McNeil, the owner of London Scholars, in Steve Mascord's column talking about BT. BT Sport is there to sell broadband packages. That's the raison d'etre of it. That's why it's there. That's why they've got the Champions League and they've got the Premier League, because they are 2 products people will buy. And guess what? People watch now. So Rugby League is not that. I know they have the Premiership Rugby Union and they have a programme called The Rugby Show. Magazine programmes do not do great viewing figures. You can go and look. I'm not just banging this drum and making things up. Quote from Derek Beaumont. If we can get clubs getting their games on, we can go forward. Whether it's Ralph, Mark Foster or whoever at the RFL, they can go to Facebook, Amazon or whoever and say 80,000 people tuned in live to watch that game. What a load of old crap that is. Because they're not, are they? 80,000 people watched Liam Widnes at the Summer Bash on Sky Sports. He was on all day. Last week, Championship Rugby League, 6 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena, live from wherever Swinton Lions play. Swinton Lions versus Toronto Wolfpack. With all the build-up there was actually something interesting went on before that game. 29,300, outdrawn by the women's cricket, England versus West Indies at 1:30 on a Thursday afternoon. Outdrawn by wrestling at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday and a Wednesday morning. Outdrawn by Super League. 80,000 people watched one game. Yes, what was that? We got the press release at the start of the season, didn't we, about the R-League app and how 90,000 people watched however many games. But when you actually...
It works out as an average of 3,000 a game.
Which is about watch this.
Yeah.
Amazon aren't coming to us to buy this programme, and Amazon aren't going to buy the Championship Rugby League because they've got the rights to top-level men's tennis, so that's all the best tennis players in the world. They've got the rights to top-level women's tennis, so that's all the best tennis players in the world, and they've got some Premier League football, which, as we're told, is the best.
Yeah.
It's a dreadful fixture card, but it's the best league in the world. They're not interested in buying second-tier minority sport.
Yeah, but hold on, what? Amazon, why don't they buy us? We're the best 4 pundits in the We're the best 4 pundits in Rugby League, so why don't they buy us?
We've got to stop
we just
this.
answered that question. They're still looking for the best 4 pundits.
We've got to stop these people.
We are the best 4.
Selling. It's like politics in a moment. We've got all these people coming on TV who want to be Prime Minister, selling us these dreams of things they're going to do with the magic money tree that doesn't exist, because we're giving it all to the DUP. They're doing the same here again in Rugby League. These club owners need to be smarter about what they're selling. They're selling a dream to people that does not exist.
Well,
Amazon,
I think
Facebook are not buying content. Twitter are not buying content from second-tier sporting rights.
And I think Mark's right as well in the fact that if the Championship ends up with the league positions that we've got at the moment, and Toronto do get promoted, one of the major USPs of the Championship to a potential broadcaster disappears, because that element of exoticism
Yeah.
has got, and you know, 9,000-10,000 people at a game and a good atmosphere and a good story, because it's a sport that, you know, you've spoken to national radio broadcasters who are captivated by this idea that Toronto could be in Super League. If they're not in the Championship, what are the Championships selling?
Well, let's pretend Toronto don't exist for a moment and say Robert Elson says to Derek Beaumont and Andrew Chalmers, right lads, you're in. They won't give 2 pennies about the Championship and a TV deal with Amazon.
Now, in fairness to Beaumont in his piece, he said, look, it's not just about where they are. And we can't criticise them for trying to
if you
expand their product, but I think there's got to be realistic about what... And there's going to be a moment when they come out of a meeting and they go, no, we don't want it.
And the trouble is
they're going to be knackered.
They won't be signing the kind of players that Lee are signing at the moment if they're
going to be knackered.
Guarantee.
Unless Derek wants to put more of his own money in. And we know Bradford are losing loads of money already, so who's going to keep putting the money in there? You know, there's got to be a realism about it. It's not... It's a good competition, but the elite level's struggling to get the deal it wants for its revenue. How's the lower league one going to get one?
And I go back to this, people saying it's a good competition. It's a good 2 competitions.
Yeah.
The top half of it and the bottom half of it do not mix.
If we want to expose people to our products...
And yes, Swinton...
Derek Beaumont.
The other great result this weekend was Swinton winning at Toulouse.
Yeah. If we want to expose...
But for every Swinton winning at Toulouse, there's a Dewsbury going to Toronto.
If we want to expose people to the products, and again we keep saying this because it's the right thing to do. You go on the BBC website on the weekend, they show any old crap they can get their hands on. There was archery on there yesterday, had korfball the other week. We're hiding stuff again. We had the Origin games over the weekend, the Academy and the Women's Origin games.
Which were fantastic.
I watched the women's one I had the women's one on because I was working, and I had Twitch on so I could see the numbers, because you see how many people watching. It was about 1,300, which to say no one knows this is going on, I'd say that's
in an
impressive.
empty ground.
And again, why did they do that? Especially when they're using the same company to broadcast the Lee Bradford game, play it before Lee Bradford. I despair sometimes. We've got these products and we're pie in the sky, let's say it to Amazon, when the BBC will show content on their website and we just hide it away. when we can actually get an audience. We don't put it on YouTube. We don't put it on Facebook. We're gonna chase Amazon to send.
Telstra have just renegotiated their deal with the NRL, so that it includes women's rugby league.
No disrespect to Cornwall or Archery, by the way. But if they're showing that, they show us.
Is this not True Speedway?
Have they advertised the figure? Have they given the figure out how much they've spent? Telstra?
No,
but over here we don't know how much.
But they're showing the women's state of origin on Friday. We can watch that here on Sky.
Yeah, but normally the Aussies say, well, it's about 4 billion.
I think they've just upped whatever the big huge deal was. They just put a bit more in.
Come on, what's happening on social media?
But Arson Richard, he says, it's telling that Scully is quiet at the minute. This is a pointless conversation. No one outside of the Championship and Rugby League in general are interested in the game outside Super League. The problem is, Richard, they're not interested in the game in Super League either. And it doesn't matter if we say that on this programme, because we're only talking to Rugby League people. When we're wearing different hats in different places, where we sell the game, don't we? That's what we're there to do. When we're on this programme, we can say whatever we want. We just need to be more realistic. We can't set people up to sell dreams that aren't there.
Yeah,
because eventually they'll just all be disappointed.
I just think for clever business people, they are not looking at the real picture, and I think there's going to be if Super League don't get the money that they want, and it is still an if they got the Sky go to all right, here you go lads, yeah, we've sorted it out, there's your money, everything's carry on as it is or whatever, or they get a reduced level. But if they get no money, that championship is not going to be a competition worth watching, because either the players are all going to have to take massive pay cuts, or they're going to go do something else in their life,
or be picked up by some Super League teams.
Yeah,
here's the point.
So there needs to be we keep using that word reality.
This is where John completely misses the point. You lot wouldn't say it the way you're talking about it. Talk about the weekend's games and how good they were. Yeah, there were some good games this week, and if you look at the championship, there were loads of blowouts as well, which don't get picked up by people with agendas, do they?
Yeah.
But there are some good games there. It doesn't matter what we say on this programme. Non-rugby league people are not watching this programme. We need to say to non-rugby league people, by how Phil said earlier, get the likes of Adrian Durham and whoever we can find out there who will tweet videos that might get a following, because they've got loads of followers. Us doing it ourselves doesn't mean jack, because we're irrelevant.
Yeah.
It's people outside of our bubble we need to convince. It doesn't matter, oh look great, let's get Robbie Hunter-Paul tweeting a video of Old Challenge Cup finals. That's great for us, we can watch some Old Challenge Cup finals. No one out there cares.
Yeah, and what it is worth bearing in mind before you criticise it on here, like Rich said, we're broadcasting to an audience here that know and love the game. When we're on other programmes, you would not hear us say a bad word about the game, because we're talking to people that don't know about the game and want it to sound bigger and better than maybe it is, and we will always do our best to promote it. So I think that's a pretty harsh criticism, and it is all right saying good games in the championship. We watch the championship. We're happy with the championship as it is, but it is as it is, propped up by money going into Super League. And if that's not the case, you're not going to have the same competition.
One of the best games.
You've got to get. The reality is, you've got to get that. And there are teams in there that if you said tomorrow there's no funding, I would say 70% of those teams would go out of business.
But the other thing as well is, look, generally, depending on who is at home, at the crowds in the championship, we're only reflecting
the fans won't
the
pay
people
to watch
themselves
it, so
that are turning up to watch the teams that they
and if you think that people are going to pay money to broadcast that, they're not, without a way of recouping it. And that's the problem.
One of the best games this weekend must have been Hunslet Doncaster on Friday night. And why Hunslet play on Friday when Leeds do, I don't know. 664 people to see Doncaster sneak past by 2 points.
Yeah.
There are good games in every competition. There are bad games in every competition. You watch the NRL. It's not the great. Yes, it's of course the biggest league in the world. It's got all the best players.
Not every game every week is fantastic.
There are some stinkers, but it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Anyway, move on.
Although Ryan Hall played very well this week.
They won and everything. They won and everything, didn't they?
Good stuff. Good stuff. Right, we'll do our predictions now. I feel a bit deflated by that conversation, but it needs saying. And if they're not saying this to each other, then they're.
But also,
then they are
and again,
silly.
the only thing that I would say about, and I'm sure that there is absolute truth in this story that the Championship are looking to expand, is the bit that's missing from the story is what happens to those that aren't included.
Yeah, exactly. They're just doing to them what Super League have done at the Championship.
And if I had a criticism of the way they've gone about their business, it's the fact that there isn't anybody looking after the game as a whole.
Yeah.
And there were one or two people who were vilified for saying we all need to stick together. And actually, this is a classic example of everybody looking after their own interests and not the best interest of the game.
Just to round it up, right? Do you think there's any prospect that, for the good of the game, that Robert Elston can come together with the Rugby League, or is that just?
I think the
now?
Closer we get to this television negotiation, that may have to happen. It'll be forced by an external factor. It won't. I think they're too far entrenched within the organisations to hold out an olive branch to each other. But I think if somebody like Sky were to say, look, we want to deal with the game as a whole, that would force their hand. But it's happened. We've said it before. It's happened in the past. The history says that Super League broke away around about the turn of the 21st century, and within 2 years realised that all they were doing was duplicating resource that they didn't really have, and they came back together. And if we're a sport that's going to be scrabbling around for whatever money we can get, you can't have two lots of people doing the same job.
Interesting. Very interesting. Right, we will move on. Right, let's have a look at what is happening this weekend. We'll start off with a big game on Thursday. Come on, beer draw. London against Hull Kingston Rovers.
I tell you what,
live at Ealing on Thursday night. It will be live on TalkSport too. We'll get that mention out there as well.
I tell you what, you wouldn't rule out a going point, would you? To be honest with you, from there, but this. I know Danny's trying to play it down as though people call it the game of the season. This is the game of the season. And who would have been saying this, what went into game 19 this weekend? Who would have been saying this?
But then we'll be saying that when Leeds play London and then when OKR play London, potentially.
I don't think we will, because the results what London and Hull Kingston Rovers produced last weekend. So I don't think we'll be in the same context. And the Broncos, they've beaten Saints, they've beaten Leeds, they've beaten Wigan. Now they've got the Catalans back to their backsides, and OKR have had a good win this week against Warrington, but I can't go against London. I just cannot go against London. And they enjoyed themselves in Catalans. I'm sure they've had a few beers as well after the game as well. Danny likes to get a response.
It's his birthday.
Yeah, it's what?
It was Danny's birthday.
Was it?
Hopefully, they did.
No, congratulations. Yes, so I would imagine they've enjoyed themselves, but they knew this fixture were coming up, and this is the Broncos, mate. It's Broncos time. It is the Broncos time. I'm going the Broncos by 10.
There's two conflicting thoughts going through my head at the moment. One is London have got absolutely nothing to lose, and
all of a sudden, though, they have got something to lose.
But like they're saying, every time they're interviewed, nothing's changed. Every game's a cup final for them this year. Nobody expects them to win a game. Every game they win, it elevates them. But actually, the situation hasn't really changed, because the expectation is that they're not going to do anything this year. The bookies have come out today and they're still the favourites to be relegated.
Yeah, but only just.
Yeah, but
not on our Twitter poll. They're not Leeds are the favourites.
I don't think there is any pressure on London in any game between now and the end of the season, and that to me makes them very dangerous. The other thing is, I do think there is, at this time of the year, a difference in preparation between having a game on Saturday afternoon in your home city and having a game in the south of France on a Saturday evening. And I think that may count against London. That it may just be that the turnaround is going to harm them. So I'm going to go for Hull KR by 2. And I just think that the changes Tony Smith's making will be incremental, and he will have picked this as a game that they have to win. I don't know who they play next. I think we've got the whole derby next week. Yeah. I think this is a game that Tony Smith will say, right, focus on this, lads. So if we win this, we've got ourselves some breathing space.
To annoy Sid, I'm going to go for Hull KR as well. I don't really know why, but it's just pick things out of the thin air when you come to these games, because they are all toss of a coin. I got it right the first time. I think it's interesting that Hull are bringing in players, because that is what you do when you are in a relegation battle. You strengthen your squad, and then you have the opposing coaches moan about you doing it. So I'm going to go with Hull KR. Obviously, Tony Smith is signing players who he knows the tune he can get out with them, and I'm going to go for Rovers by 8.
I think Livette is a really good sign. I'm amazed a couple of other clubs didn't pick him up sooner, because his face don't fit, but he's not getting any game time at Warrington. I think London will win. I was thinking this. I think they have got something to lose now, because all of a sudden, I know they'll say under radar. If they win this week, they will be 10th in the table. They won't even be bottom. They won't be next to bottom. They'll be 10th in the table, and that would heap so much pressure on. I just wonder, Hull KR, really big performance just got over the top of Warrington, but it's a big win. Can they back that up? I think that's the problem Hull KR have got. They haven't been able to do it. I know they've got a new coach. I expect that improvement to continue. The derby the week after, for them, they got to London and win, and then the week after they get hammered by Hull. It's a tough run of fixtures for Hull KR. I'm going London. I just think they've got a little bit too much at the minute. I just think they've got too much. I think they're a great team in terms of a team. I'm not sure Hull KR. From what I listened to the game, from what the sounds of it, Rovers did everything they could to lose the game and then snatched it at the end. So I'm going to go London. I think they're the better team. They deserve to beat St Helens. They clearly were better than Catalans at the weekend, and I think they'll nick it. I'm going London by 7. Huddersfield against Wigan Friday night.
Yeah, well, the Giants are struggling, aren't they? And Wigan find a way to win. And even though they're not pretty at the moment, but I think they've got 2 players who have got that attitude that are getting them over the line in Sam Powell and Sean O'Loughlin. I don't think the Giants have got that. Yeah, Gaskell's in decent form, but they haven't got too many apart from him, to be honest with you. Can't find a way to win the Giants. Wigan can find a way. I don't think there'll be a big score. I don't think this game will be a high scoring game, to be honest with you. But I'm going Wigan, and I'm going Wigan by 8.
Again, it's another one where I can't draw a form line. I would be tempted to say Huddersfield have to win. But the magnitude of the defeat this week, I think, raises question marks.
I'm not so sure.
I think they were showing improvement, and I don't know how much losing by a point at Castleford took out of them. I'm tempted to give Huddersfield one last chance. So I think that Simon Woolford is improving them. I think that the kids in their team have got really bright futures, and there will be games where it's men against boys, as Woolford said, because they're not at that level yet. But I just think that if they're going to salvage the season, it starts with a home game against the team that are just above them. I'm a bit with Scully on Wigan's performance on last Friday. I think they managed to find a way to win rather than necessarily deserve to win. So I'm going to go Huddersfield by 2.
It's bizarre because Leeds were the masters of this in the past. Wigan could still win the grand final.
Yeah, they could.
Wigan, if they win, would potentially go above Castleford, depending on points difference and so on and so forth over the weekend. Which is odd, because they've been generally rubbish, but now they could be champions again, which would be one hell of a story. I'm going to go for Wigan, and I'm going to go for Wigan to win this one. Not to win the grand final, not yet. Going a bit early on that one. Wigan by 6.
I look at that Huddersfield team on Friday. It was very young. Now, is that being done with a couple rested with a view to that they'll play the week after? We see Joe Wardle needs an operation. He's out. Didn't play last week. Not going to play this week. That is a young team, and I thought Leeds had beat Wigan, but Wigan's defence is brutal at times, and that's the one thing that they still maintain, isn't it? From the team that won the Super League, they've still got a very, very strong defence. And I think that will be enough to win in this game, and I think they will win quite comfortably. I think they'll win by 14. Salford against Castleford. This is a big game because the winner will be in the top 5. Castleford could be 4 points clear of Salford, or they could be behind them on points difference. Gary?
Yeah, Castleford certainly players are lacking confidence, and Big Jesse Senator Fair has come out and said, yeah, the players got a big roast, and the biggest roast in Dow Powell's management at Castleford Tigers. Will that get a response? I'm not convinced. Watch the Salford Red Devils literally rip Wakefield Trinity apart. The forwards was good, the half-back sensational, and they've got plenty of pace in the back line. I think Salford, with the form that they're showing, playing at home, the 2 half-backs in tremendous form. They'll have too much for Cass and Salford, and I think they'll put a few points on again. I'm going to Salford to win by 20.
Alright, cool.
Salford need to show that they can back up a good result with another one. I think we said it a couple of weeks ago that we know this Salford team is breaking up, and whereas not long ago it looked as though perhaps the dressing room was in disarray because players were starting to announce where they were going for next year, to his absolute credit, Ian Watson's got them back on track. And whilst ever their key players are fit and playing and clearly enjoying themselves, they're a threat. You know, when when their half-back pairing is arguably the best in the league, maybe apart from Saints, they've got to pose a threat. The issue for Cass is if they don't turn it around this week, then they drop out the 5, and I worry whether they'll get back in again, even with everybody fit and playing to the best of their ability. I think Darryl Powell needs a response. I think he'll probably get one. I'll go Cass by 4.
Okay, Rich?
It's strange, Salford, isn't it? Because they lost 3 in a row before they battered Wakefield yesterday. And now they're back in contention. Castleford, I can't make head and tail of. Salford, I can't really do either. But Salford's positive points difference is ridiculous, isn't it? 77. The only team outside the top 2 to have a positive points difference. How does that happen? I think they'll beat Castleford, and I think it'll be a close one. It's a shame this isn't on the telly, isn't it? But Salford by 4.
Okay, I am going to go. I'm going to base this on what I saw from Salford last week, right? And they were brilliant. Castleford, for 40 minutes, blown away for 40 minutes. There's an intent about the Salford forwards. The worry is, I think they lost Griffin's gone torn bicep. He's going to be out. They might have one or two. It is a quick turnaround. That is the one advantage Cass have here. 5-day turnaround for Salford, 8-day turnaround for Cass. That might be where the Castleford advantage is. But I think if Hastings and Louis play like they did on Sunday, Castleford aren't winning this game. We find out this week if Castleford are broken or not. This is it. No excuses now. They've got to go to Salford and win. I think Salford will win. I think Salford will win by 14. St Helens Leeds. Just say it's by 50. Is that where we're going?
It's simple prediction. St Helens by 40.
Not far off.
Fingers crossed.
Saints by 20.
Are we doing the not proper analysis on this one? Well, Saints are really good. They're top of the table. Leeds
Matt
are rubbish.
Parcells back for Leeds, which will make a slight difference.
Why?
He hits the referee.
Is he fit now and get rid of him all care?
Because I think 2 hookers gives them more options than they have.
They want rid of him.
Yeah, but
what are you on about? They want rid of him.
Whether they want rid of him or not, he's still better than what they had on the field by way of when Liam Sutcliffe went off.
Whether he's even a Leeds player by the time this game's played. He might have gone to all care. Might have done.
Depends who Leeds want to buy as well.
I wish I had Ashton Golden's contract. So yeah, Saints will win, and I'm gone quite conservative here. I'm on the side of you Leeds people. This will be smaller than the handicap will be. Saints by 18.
Interesting that despite the nightmare start on the Leeds under Ferner, Leeds went to Saints and very, very nearly won at the start of the season.
That was one of their best performances.
They played brilliantly, and then they just got steamrolled in the last half an hour. If the Saints pack come to play, Leeds will get battered, and I mean battered with Gary. Could be a 40, but I also think Leeds will go. And I think Ego said, look, this is one everyone expects us to lose. Let's go try and throw it around. Let's get it to Hurrell. Let's get it out wide.
Got a decent record at Saints.
I'll give them, I'll say Saints by 24, but I'm being optimistic.
Give it to Hurrell.
Let's quickly move on.
Is that at half time?
I don't get paid overtime. I will take no joy out of that result. Warrington against Wakefield.
Yeah, well, the simple fact, Wakefield, well, I say they're all over the place, aren't they? And Chris Chester's admitted as well, his forwards are performing too soft at this moment in time, and the quote that he's saying, that they could burst away out of a paper bag. I've got to agree with him, and so when he get a reaction from the players, he needs one. But as you said earlier, Mark, Trinity might throw this one and get ready for the game the week after. Warrington, he'll want the reaction of Will Price. I would imagine he won't be resting the players. This will be too easy for the Wolves. This is Warrington by 32.
I don't think there's too many to come back for Wakefield. So I think that everything that Chris Chester said still applies this week because he can't change. In fact, he may have lost a couple of forwards. So the worst thing for Wakefield is Warrington losing this week to Hull KR and Steve Price getting annoyed with them, and he's building up to a cup semi-final. He can't afford too many narrow defeats against teams they should be beating. He's also building up to a game against St Helens in a couple of weeks that they've got to win if they're going to be taking a serious title contenders. So I can't say anything other than a Warrington win, and I'll go Warrington by 24.
We are preparing for the middle eights. The famous phrase from James Webster when we lived elsewhere in a different house. What happened to him? I still got a job. Yeah, Warrington's going to win. I said this on the What Would Brian Bevan Say podcast, which I think is out tomorrow. Well worth listening because I'm on it.
We'll be the judge of that.
There's actually some really good bits on it.
We'll be the judge of that.
Not my bits. Warrington by 18.
Warrington by 18?
The way Wakefield played yesterday, I'm doubling it. I'm going Wakefield to lose by 36. Last one. And this is the game on Saturday. It's the Dragons against Hull FC. Scully.
Well, he's got to leave a few players out as McNamara, and one of them everybody knows what I've said about him. And but will he have the crystals, McNamara, to drop some of these big name players? I don't think he will, to be honest with you, from there. So, but Hull FC, yeah, this will be a test for them. But they like going to Catalans, don't they? They always seem to do okay there, and the big players are in good form. And I say, well, the spine of the side in Shaw and Connor and Sneed and Albert Kelly are in good form. So if they forward pack get ripped into Catalans, which I can't see a problem there whatsoever, we'll have too much quality for the Catalans. I'm going the Black and Whites to win by 14.
Was it golden point extra time the last time these two played?
Hull went there with
Hull comeback.
Not even half a team
and won. So you would say that form would favour that result. My only slight reservation, again, this is no mitigation because I get it wrong anyway, but we don't know who might be coming back for Castellan. There were a lot of players who would be first choice in that pack who didn't play last week. I think had they played, it wouldn't have made any difference. London would have beaten them anyway. But I think you'd start bringing back the likes of Sam Mower and Kenny Edwards, and it clearly makes a difference. I think that if Catalan are going to do anything this year to justify the fact that there's a possibility that come the playoffs they're going to make a difference. They haven't got a single excuse this week. They've been at home all week. They'd use the excuse of being on the road. I don't know if Matt McAloran will be back. They clearly missed him. So I'm going to give them one last chance. I'm going to go Dragons by 10.
Interesting revelation in the League Weekly this week that Gareth Ellis could have got married to Cheryl Cole. Well, he brushed past her once, which is close enough for most men. I'm going to go off the Catalans. I don't know why, because they're no good. Hull are third in the table and they've got minus -1 million points. I just don't know what we're doing with this anymore. We're just going to get a random number generator next week and see what that can do. But I'm going to go for the Catalans at home. They've got to respond from that defeat, haven't they, against London? But it's going to be a narrow one, and it'll be Catalans with the boot of Matty Smith, even though he doesn't kick, by 2.
A big week for Hull. Got Hull KR the week after. Big week.
Is that a Hull or Hull KR?
Hull KR, I think. And they go to the south of France knowing a victory, what's it all but wraps up their place. I still think, right, and this is me reversing big time, Hull could still finish second if Warrington keeps slipping up. I think Hull will win. I think Hull will target this game to win, and as I've said the last few weeks, when Hull want to win, they do win, and I think they'll win. And I think they'll win quite easily. I'm going Hull by 13. Something wrong at the Dragons, don't know what it is. Don't know what it is, worried.
Well, that cup tie at Hull.
Well,
it told us everything.
Well, it did. The second half performance at Warrington told a lot as well. They're not right, and that's not to take away from London beating them this week. But I think Hull, if they want to play, will win, and they'll win. I'm going Hull by 13. Right, that concludes our efforts today. Thank you to Richard. Thanks to Phil. Thanks to the legend. Thanks to you for watching, listening. Hashtag you know the drill. Get some social media in. We've got some Toronto t-shirt vests to give away. We'll do that next week. Download the podcast, share it, like it, subscribe, blah, blah, blah.
Get the new 4020.
Get the new 4020. Positivity issue. Yeah. We had to balance that out today with a bit of negativity, but we will see. You can get that, and we'll give a copy away as well this week to anyone that is using the You Know The Drill hashtag. We'll see you next week. See ya.